The emergency alert system cut into the evening news. That god-awful buzzing sound, like a swarm of mechanical cicadas. I'd been half asleep in the recliner, a bottle of Yangling sweating on the side table. This is not a test. Those 5 words froze me. I don't know if you've ever really listened to an ES broadcast outside of a weather drill. But when it isn't a test, you can hear the strain in the operator's voice. Like he knows he's reading something that will change lives. The message was scrambled, cutting in and out, but I caught enough. Stay indoors. Avoid contact with individuals displaying violent or erratic behavior. Do not attempt to travel until further notice. That was it. No location, no cause. Just static and that flat robotic tone telling me to remain calm. Calm. Right. The funny part is, I'd been waiting for a moment like this my whole life. Not zombies specifically, though I'll admit I had a shelf of old VHS tapes with titles like Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead, but for disruption. The kind that separates the prepared from the panicked. I sat there a long while just listening to the empty airwaves. My HM radio hissed with static when I spun the dial. The cell tower near my place must have gone down already, because my phone dropped to no service. That was the first domino. I went through the motions automatically. Shut and locked all the doors. Slid the heavy bolts across the basement storm hatch. Pulled the blackout curtains in the living room. Carried my shotgun upstairs. It wasn't adrenaline, not yet. More like muscle memory. I told myself it was probably civil unrest in Philadelphia, or another scare. But deep down, way down in the part of me I never admitted to anyone, I knew it was bigger. The silence said so. At 7:15 my sister Karen called. Surprised me since her line worked and mine didn't. Her voice was sharp, ragged, like she'd been running. Tom? You watching the news? I heard the alert. They're saying it's a... She cut herself off. I heard hospital sounds in the background. Monitors beeping, distant shouting. She was at Geisinger pulling a double shift. What is it? I pressed. Her breath hitched. Patients. They're attacking staff. Biting. Scranton PD already here. They don't stay down, Tom. The line went dead. Just like that. I wish I could tell you I leapt into action. That I jumped in my truck, drove through fire and chaos to rescue her. But that's not what happened. I froze. I sat in the dark, phone clutched in my hand, listening to the silence swallow the house. Listening for footsteps that weren't there. When I finally stood, my legs shook so bad I had to grab the doorframe. That's when I heard it, faint at first, then unmistakable. Sirens. Not just 1 or 2. A chorus, echoing down from Scranton proper, carried on the autumn air. The outbreak had begun. The sirens didn't stop. They rose and fell in overlapping waves, a tangle of fire trucks, police cruisers, maybe even ambulances, though I suspected they weren't bringing people to the hospital anymore. I stepped out onto my porch. The air smelled sharp like ozone before a storm. The street looked normal, porches lit, curtains drawn, a few cars parked crooked in driveways, but it was too quiet for a Friday night. Normally you'd hear music from down the block, kids yelling, dogs barking. That night, nothing. Across the street, Miguel Alvarez stood in his yard with a cigarette between 2 fingers. Ex-Marine, Gulf War vet. He caught my eye and lifted his chin like he already knew. He always did. You hear it too? I called across the dark. He flicked ash into the grass. Yeah. Heard the broadcast. Whole damn county's going sideways. What do you think it is? He shook his head slowly. Doesn't matter. What matters is we're at the edge of town, and edge towns always get swallowed last. He pointed the cigarette like a teacher with a piece of chalk. That gives us a window, Grady. You better use it. Then he stubbed it out, turned, and shut his door. No wave. No good night. Just the sound of the bolt sliding home. Back inside I paced. I wanted to call Karen back, but my phone still had no service. Tried the ham again, nothing but bursts of static. The landline was dead too. So I did the only thing I knew how to do when panic pressed down. I made a list. Water jugs filled? Yes. Canned food organized? Weapons loaded, safety checked? First aid supplies? It calmed me a little going through the motions. Order and chaos. Then, just as I was checking the batteries on my flashlights, there was a knock at the door. I froze. It wasn't a neighborly knock. Not the kind where someone uses the flat of their hand and calls your name. This was urgent, frantic, palms slapping wood in uneven rhythm. Help. Please help me. A woman's voice. I edged to the peephole. Claire Donnelly, I recognized her instantly. She worked at the Sunoco off the highway, about 24, always cheerful when I stopped for gas. Now her face was streaked with tears and blood, one arm cradled against her chest. Mr. Grady, please, let me in. Logic battled instinct. Every prepper forum I'd ever lurked on said the same thing. You don't open your door once things go bad. Not for anyone. Compassion kills. But this wasn't a stranger. This was Claire. I cracked the door 2 inches, shotgun at my side. What happened? She sobbed. There was this guy. He came in bleeding all over, and then he bit Steve. Just bit him like a dog. And then Steve, she gagged, clapping her good hand over her mouth. Steve got back up. Behind her, down the street, I saw movement. A figure stumbling between the parked cars. Shoulders jerking at odd angles, head twitching like it didn't belong to the body. Claire saw it too. Her eyes went wide. Please. Please, Tom. That was the first decision. The kind that defines everything that comes after. I let her in. Not because it was smart. Not because it fit the plan. Because in that moment she looked like my sister. The lock clicked behind her just as the figure reached the end of my driveway. Through the curtains, I watched it move under the street lamp. Bare feet slapping pavement, clothes soaked with something dark. The jaw worked mechanically, opening and closing, and when the light hit its face, I saw teeth filed down from chewing. It wasn't Steve. Not anymore. Claire slid down the wall, shaking, whispering thank you over and over like a prayer. I didn't answer. I couldn't. Because I'd just broken rule number 1. Never let the outside in. And the clock had only just started ticking. Claire shook so badly I had to guide her into the kitchen chair. Her right sleeve was torn, blood smeared across the fabric, but when I made her roll it up, the gash underneath was shallow, a cut, not a bite. Bandage it, I muttered, tossing her the first aid kit from under the sink. Tight above the elbow. Don't let it bleed. She obeyed without argument. That alone told me how bad things were out there. Claire wasn't the type to take orders from a grumpy neighbor twice her age. When she finished, she looked up at me with wide, red-rimmed eyes. They don't stop, Tom. You shoot them, you knock them down, but they get back up. The guy in the store, he smashed his head on the counter when he fell, split it wide open. He stood back up like nothing happened. My throat went dry. What about Steve? I asked carefully. Her lips trembled. He turned in less than a minute. That was the detail that mattered most. A minute. Viruses, bacteria, they didn't move that fast. Whatever this was, it rewrote the rules. I wanted to believe it was shock talking. That she was exaggerating, filling in the gaps with fear. But then I heard the scraping at my front door. A long dragging sound. Fingernails or knuckles across wood. Claire went pale. I raised the shotgun. The sound came again, heavier this time. Then a muffled groan, wet and animalistic. Something thumped against the door. Basement, I hissed. Now. She hesitated. What if there are more? Go. The house wasn't built for sieges. Ranch style, thin doors, glass windows. I'd always figured if trouble came, I'd have warning. I never planned for them to come straight to my porch. The banging grew louder, more insistent. The door frame rattled. Whoever was outside wasn't trying to knock. They were trying to get in. I edged to the peephole. The man, if you could call him that, pressed his face against the glass, skin torn and gray, lips slick with blood. His jaw worked side to side, teeth clacking against the wood. Eyes clouded white like skim milk. I didn't wait to see more. I aimed, fired. The shotgun roared, deafening in the small hallway. Splinters flew. The figure stumbled back into the yard, chest peppered with shot. He should have gone down. Should have stayed down. He didn't. He staggered, hunched, and then he kept coming, step after dragging step, like nothing vital had been hit at all. My stomach lurched. Claire had been right. I retreated fast, bolting the inner hallway door, dragging the hall table across it. It wouldn't hold long, but it bought seconds. In the basement, Claire crouched by the shelves of canned beans and water jugs, hands over her ears from the gunshot. He's still out there, I told her flatly. Nothing short of destroying the brain works. How do you know that? Because I just emptied a shell into his chest and he's still moving. Her face crumpled. Oh my God. Quiet. I killed the basement lights. Through the narrow ground-level windows, I saw shadows moving across the yard. Not just one now. Two. Maybe three. Drawn by the sound. I felt the weight of every choice pressing down on me. Letting Claire in. Firing the gun. Every action had a consequence, and those consequences were gathering in my yard. It was 8:07 p.m. when the lights flickered once, twice, then died for good. The refrigerator hummed to silence. The water pump cut off. The house sighed into stillness. Power grid failure. The only sound left was the faint tapping on the glass, a dozen pale fingers drumming against the basement windows. Claire started to cry quietly into her sleeve. I put a hand on her shoulder, not for comfort, for silence. Above us, something heavy crashed through a window. The intruders had found another way in. The first 12 hours had truly begun. The crash upstairs echoed like thunder. Shards of glass tinkled across the floorboards. Then came the dragging shuffle of feet, too many, too heavy. Claire's breath hitched beside me. They're inside. I steadied the shotgun in my hands, every instinct screaming to bolt, to hide. But if I hid, they'd tear through the house, sniff us out eventually. And if I ran, I'd be leaving Karen out there alone, maybe already trapped in some ward surrounded by these things. Logic cut through panic. Clear the breach. Seal it. Survive the night. I moved up the basement stairs, every step deliberate, shotgun raised. Claire stayed crouched below, whispering a prayer I couldn't make out. The living room looked like a war zone. The window over the couch was blown inward, glass glittering across the carpet. Curtains swayed in the autumn draft. And there, half in shadow, two shapes lurched through. The first was a man in a delivery uniform, one arm torn to the bone, jaw swinging loose as if the hinge had broken. The second, God help me, was a teenage girl, maybe 15, still in a soccer jersey, dried blood matted down her shin guards. They didn't see me at first. Their movements were jerky, uncoordinated, but their heads turned in sharp, insect-like twitches. Then the girl's milky eyes fixed on me and she shrieked. It wasn't human. High, piercing, enough to rattle the frames on the wall. The man lunged. I fired. The blast tore half his face away and this time he dropped, convulsing before lying still. The girl kept coming, shrieking, hands clawing at the air. I racked the next shell, aimed higher. When the smoke cleared, she was a heap of red and fabric on the rug. I stood over them, chest heaving, ears ringing, waiting to see if they'd rise. They didn't. Claire crept up the stairs, trembling, eyes locked on the bodies. They're just people. Not anymore, I muttered. My voice sounded like gravel. But my hands shook, because she was right. The soccer jersey still had a team logo. The man's name tag still read Ken. These weren't monsters from a movie. They were neighbors. And I'd killed them. We dragged the bodies out onto the porch together, gagging at the smell. Already sour, like rot that had been baking in the sun for weeks. I didn't have the strength to bury them, and burning them would have drawn half the county, so I shoved them into the ditch at the edge of the yard and pulled the tarp from my truck bed over them. Out of sight, if not out of mind. Back inside, I barricaded the window with plywood and nails while Claire wrapped her arms around herself in the corner. The hammer blows echoed, announcing to the night that we were still here, still alive. When I finished, I sank onto the couch, sweat cooling on my skin. My watch read 9:42 p.m., less than 3 hours since the first broadcast. Claire broke the silence. "What about your sister?" The words twisted in my gut. Karen, trapped in that hospital, surrounded by whatever this was. Her voice on the phone cut short mid-sentence. "I don't know if she's alive," I admitted. The words tasted like ash. "You can't just leave her there." I looked at Claire, pale, wide-eyed, waiting for me to be something I wasn't. A hero. A savior. All I'd ever been was a man who fixed air conditioners and stockpiled canned beans. But the logic was clear. The roads would clog within hours. Police and EMS would fall next. If Karen was alive, her only chance was now. I loaded the shotgun again, chambered a round, and checked the box of shells. "I'll get her," I said finally. Claire's voice wavered. "And me?" I met her eyes. She was young, terrified, unarmed. If I left her, she'd be dead before sunrise. "You're coming with me." The house was silent again when we killed the lantern. The sirens in the distance had faded, replaced by faint screams carried on the wind. The power grid was gone, communications severed, streets crawling with the infected. The world outside was dead or dying. But as I sat there in the dark with Claire beside me, shotgun across my knees, I understood something. This wasn't about waiting it out anymore. It was about moving. The first 12 hours weren't survival. They were the test. And we just barely passed the first question. I didn't sleep. Neither did Claire. We sat in the dark until the faintest gray light crept over the horizon, listening to the low thud of footsteps outside and the occasional shriek splitting the night. By dawn, the sounds had thinned but not vanished. I stood, bones aching from tension, and began packing. Canned beans, rice jerky. 2-gallon jugs of water. First aid kit. Box of 12-gauge shells. Box of .22 rounds. Flashlights, spare batteries. Crowbar. Not much, but everything I could carry. The rest would stay behind. I slid the shotgun over my shoulder, stuffed the .22 into a side pouch, and slung the pack onto my back. Claire clutched the baseball bat I'd dug out of the hall closet, knuckles white on the taped grip. "You sure about this?" she asked. "No, not at all." But I just nodded. The lock clicked as I sealed the door behind us. A simple sound, but it felt final, like throwing dirt on a coffin. The neighborhood looked different in daylight. Not safer, just more naked. Cars abandoned at odd angles. Trash cans tipped over, their contents strewn across the yards. A mailbox dented in, dark stains splashed on the sidewalk beneath it. And silence. Even in the early morning, Clark's Summit should have been alive with birds, traffic, lawnmowers. Instead, the air hung heavy, broken only by the occasional distant siren. We moved quick, heads down, keeping to the edge of the street. My truck sat in the driveway, an old Ford with more rust than paint. The windshield had a crack like a spiderweb, but it started on the first try. I handed Claire a jug of water and climbed in. The engine's rumble sounded like a beacon to anything listening. She glanced at me, voice low. "Where exactly are we going?" "Geisinger Hospital. Downtown Scranton." Her brow furrowed. "You think she's still alive?" "I have to." We'd barely reached the end of the block when a voice called out. "Grady." Miguel Alvarez stood on his porch, rifle slung over one shoulder, pack at his feet. He looked sharp, alert, the same way he used to when checking perimeter fences after storms. "You're leaving?" he asked. "Hospital," I said. His jaw tightened. "That's suicide. Cities go first." "She's my sister." Miguel spat into the grass. "Sympathy's a liability, hermano. You hole up, wait it out. Military will sweep through in a day or two." I almost laughed at that. Military sweeps. Containment zones. All the Hollywood solutions. "Stay safe, Miguel," I said, shifting the truck into gear. His eyes narrowed. Don't bring anything back here with you. I didn't answer. As I pulled away, I saw him in the rear view, bolting his door behind him, disappearing into shadow. The main road into Scranton was already choked. Dozens of cars nose to nose, some still idling, others abandoned with doors hanging open. A woman's purse lay spilled across the asphalt, lipsticks and receipts scattered like confetti. I slowed, weaving through the wreckage, careful not to crunch over debris. Claire gripped the dash with both hands, eyes darting from car to car. We passed a minivan with all 4 doors open. Inside, 2 car seats, empty. The front windshield was smeared with bloody handprints. Claire whispered, "Oh God." "Don't look," I muttered. But I kept looking. Couldn't help it. At the intersection near the highway on-ramp, traffic was a solid wall. Cars jammed in every direction, horns frozen in one long, dead chorus. Some had their trunks still open, half-packed with luggage. And bodies, scattered across the pavement, lying still. Some torn apart, others whole. The smell hit us then, copper and rot, so strong it burned my throat. Claire gagged into her sleeve. "I killed the engine. We walk from here." We shouldered our packs and slipped between the stalled vehicles. The silence was worse than the noise. It meant we didn't know where they were. Halfway through the tangle of cars, a sound cracked the stillness. A soft thud. Then another. I raised the shotgun. A man crawled out from under an SUV, his legs twisted wrong, bones jutting white through denim. His arms pulled him forward in jerks, nails scraping metal. His face lifted, skin gray, lips chewed away, eyes clouded. Claire gasped. The man hissed, teeth clicking. Then he dragged himself toward us, leaving a trail of dark smears across the asphalt. I fired once. His head burst back, body collapsing limp. Claire trembled beside me, bat raised, useless in her shaking grip. "They're everywhere," she whispered. I nodded grimly. "And we've barely started." We pressed deeper into the gridlock, weaving between cars, the stench of exhaust and blood hanging thick. Every few steps I caught flashes of lives interrupted. A child's stuffed rabbit wedged in a seatbelt, a coffee cup still steaming faintly on a dashboard, a suitcase ripped open with clothes fluttering in the breeze. Claire clung close, her breath ragged. The bat shook in her hands. "Keep moving," I muttered. We passed a pickup with its driver slumped over the wheel, forehead resting on the horn. The constant blare made my teeth ache. As we drew level, his head jerked up. Eyes white, jaw hanging slack. He slammed against the window, fists pounding, horns shrieking beneath him. Claire screamed. "Go!" I barked, shoving her forward. The glass cracked under his assault. We darted between bumpers, boots slipping on broken glass. Behind us, the horn died mid-blast, replaced by a shattering crash. I didn't look back. We broke free of the jam near the on-ramp, lungs burning. The highway stretched ahead, a ribbon of wreckage. Some cars burned, sending greasy black smoke into the sky. Others sat in silence, doors yawning open, seatbelts dangling loose. Claire stopped, bent double, clutching her knees. How far?" 3 miles, maybe 4. Her face fell. "On foot." "You'd rather go back?" She shook her head quickly. We pressed on. The silence pressed harder, broken only by the distant pop of gunfire somewhere in the city. Half a mile down, we found the first survivor. A man in his 30s, plaid shirt soaked red, staggered from behind a van. His hands were raised weakly, mouth moving soundlessly. Claire rushed forward before I could stop her. "Sir? Are you back?" I hissed. Too late. The man's eyes rolled white, his jaw snapping open. He lunged, teeth bared. Claire shrieked, swinging the bat blindly. It cracked against his temple, staggering him. He clawed at her shirt, dragging her close. I fired. The blast knocked him off his feet, head caved in. Claire fell back, gasping, hands smeared with his blood. He looked human. He wasn't, I snapped. Not anymore. You hesitate, you die. Her eyes filled with tears. I'm not like you, Tom. I can't just. You'll learn. I said it harsher than I meant, but fear sharpened every word. She didn't answer. She just wiped her face and kept walking, bat clenched tighter. The road curved past a gas station. Its windows were shattered, shelves stripped bare. A body hung halfway through the broken glass, torso inside, legs out, blood dried in thick streaks beneath it. We needed fuel, but I didn't dare stop. Not with the smell of rot so strong it made my stomach turn. Claire slowed. Tom there. Two figures shambled from behind the pumps. One still wore a clerk's apron, soaked black. The other was missing an arm, the stump gnawed to bone. They saw us. Their heads snapped up in unison, jaws working, and then they sprinted. Not shuffling. Not staggering. Sprinting. Claire froze. Run. I grabbed her arm and hauled her toward the ditch. We scrambled down, crashing through brush, branches whipping our faces. The infected hit the guardrail above and hurled themselves down after us, snarling. I spun, raised the shotgun, and fired. The first fell, skull bursting against the stones. The second tumbled after, rolling in the brush, teeth snapping inches from my boot. I jammed the barrel down and pulled the trigger. Silence returned, broken only by Claire's sobs. They're fast, she gasped. Some of them, I said grimly. Early ones. How do you know that? Because if they were all that fast, we'd already be dead. She stared at me, horror widening her eyes. But she didn't argue. We crawled back up to the road, shaken, scratched raw. The gas station smoldered in the distance, oily smoke curling into the sky. I adjusted my pack, trying to steady my breath. Every step forward felt heavier. Not just from the gear, but from the weight of every choice. Keep moving. Get to Karen. Survive. That was the rhythm now. And with every mile, the city loomed closer and louder. Gunfire. Sirens. Screams. Scranton wasn't just falling. It was already gone. The closer we came to the city, the thicker the smoke got. Columns of it rose from rooftops, dark plumes smearing the skyline. I could see the University of Scranton clock tower in the distance, half shrouded, its familiar outline now menacing. Claire covered her nose with her sleeve. Smells like a bonfire. It's not. We followed the edge of the highway until the pavement narrowed into an overpass. From there, we had a clear view down into a side street. That's when we saw them. A group of survivors, maybe 8 or 9, huddled in the parking lot of a strip mall. They dragged dumpsters across the lot entrance, crude barricades. Inside, I could make out kids, 2 older women, a man waving a pistol uselessly at the street. And coming for them from every direction was a tide of infected. Dozens, maybe more. The barricade rattled as the first wave slammed into it. Hands clawed over, teeth snapping. The pistol cracked once, twice, but did nothing to slow the horde. Claire grabbed my arm. We have to help them. I kept my eyes on the scene, heart pounding. We can't. They'll die. They're already dead. Her face twisted in horror. How can you? I pointed with the shotgun. Look, you fire into that crowd, you draw more. You run down there, you get trapped. And then you die too. You want to save Karen? You keep walking. She stared at me like I'd just confessed murder. Then she turned away, biting back sobs. Below us, the barricade gave way. The crowd surged in. Screams rose, then cut off, swallowed by the roar of the infected. I forced myself to look away. We left the highway, cutting down a service road. My boots crunched glass with every step. Shops lined the street, pizzeria, hardware store, dry cleaner, all gutted. Windows shattered, doors hanging open, interiors ransacked. Blood painted the sidewalk in streaks and splatters. Claire's bat dragged against the asphalt now, her steps sluggish. She looked shell-shocked, eyes glassy, face pale beneath the dirt. Claire, I said gently. She blinked at me. You keep moving. One foot, then the other. That's it. You stopped thinking about anything else. She swallowed hard, nodded. The bat rose back into her grip. She wasn't gone yet. We cut across a small park, or what was left of one. Benches overturned. Playground equipment warped by fire. The grass was trampled flat, coated in dark stains. And in the center of it all, 3 bodies propped against a fountain. At first I thought they were corpses. Then one lifted its head. Its jaw was gone. Just bone and tendon, tongue dangling loose. It tried to rise, legs buckling, snapping, bones showing through the skin. The other 2 stirred, heads lolling, eyes milky. Claire froze, breath catching. "Don't waste the ammo," I said. We backed away, keeping them in sight until distance swallowed them. The city edge loomed closer. Row houses, narrow streets, cars jammed into curbs. Somewhere inside, alarms wailed, echoing hollow through the blocks. We turned a corner and nearly walked into it. A man, or what was left of one. He staggered down the street, suit shredded, tie dangling loose. His stomach was torn open, loops of intestine dragging along the pavement behind him. The smell hit us, foul and wet. Claire gagged, covering her mouth. The man stopped, head jerking toward us. His cloudy eyes locked on, and he let out a guttural groan before breaking into a sprint, entrails slapping against his legs. "Move!" I shoved Claire sideways. The thing barreled past, slammed into a car, bounced off and wheeled around, teeth gnashing. I raised the shotgun, then stopped. No shells left. I'd burned through them too fast. He charged again. Claire screamed, swinging the bat. It connected with his jaw, shattering teeth. He staggered but kept coming. I yanked the crowbar from my pack, swung hard. It cracked against his skull with a wet crunch. He went down twitching, intestines coiling around his legs like ropes. We stood over him, panting, the world suddenly silent again. Claire spat on the pavement. "I hate this place." "Get used to it," I said, wiping blood off the crowbar. We pushed deeper. The streets narrowed, the shadows lengthened, and the screams grew louder. The city wasn't dying quietly. From a ridge, through gaps in the buildings, I finally saw it, the hospital. Geisinger stood on the hill, windows glinting in the smoke-filled light. Lights flickered weakly on some floors, others completely dark. Smoke trailed from the rooftop parking deck. Claire followed my gaze, her face crumpling. "She's in there?" She was last I knew. And now? I tightened my grip on the shotgun. Now we find out. The closer we drew to the hospital, the more the city dissolved into chaos. Streets clogged with twisted cars. Burned-out storefronts, their awnings sagging in ashes. The air carried not just smoke now, but something worse, a sour, meaty stench that clung to the back of my throat. Claire stayed glued to my side, eyes darting at every noise. Her knuckles had gone white around the bat. She hadn't said a word since the man with the entrails. We followed a back alley, stepping over trash bags and shattered glass. My boots squelched in something I didn't dare identify. Halfway down the alley we heard it, voices. Human. 2 men crouched behind a dumpster, rifles resting on the lid, scanning the street beyond. Their clothes were stained, one in camo pants, the other in a leather jacket. For a split second, relief surged through me. Survivors. Armed. Maybe even organized. Then I saw the pile. 3 bodies at their feet, stripped of packs, shoes, jackets. Bullet holes in their chests. Not infected. Just people. One of the men spotted us. He raised his rifle. "Stop right there." I froze, shotgun raised halfway. Claire stiffened beside me. "We don't want trouble," I called. The man in the jacket smirked. "Out here trouble finds you. Drop the bag." My stomach nodded. Supplies. Ammo. Water. Everything we had. Claire whispered, "Tom?" I didn't lower the bag. The man's finger twitched on the trigger. I said. The sound cut him off. A scream, high and ragged, followed by the thunder of feet. Shadows poured from the street. Infected, dozens, surging fast, howling as they barreled toward the alley. The gunman spun, opened fire. The infected hit like a wave, dragging one down instantly, tearing his throat open in a spray of red. The second man shrieked, firing wildly, then disappeared under the mass. Claire grabbed my sleeve. Go. We bolted, boots hammering pavement, cutting down side streets as the feeding sounds chased us. By the time we slowed, my chest burned like fire. We ducked into a narrow stairwell between two apartment blocks, pressing against the wall, listening. Claire's eyes glistened with panic. People are worse than them. Sometimes, I said, breath ragged. She laughed bitterly on the edge of tears. So who do we run from? Everyone? I didn't answer, because I didn't know. The hospital loomed close now, only a few blocks uphill. The sight made my stomach twist. Ambulances sat wrecked in the lot, their lights still flashing faintly. The glass doors had been smashed out, jagged edges catching the smoke-dimmed light. The sound coming from inside wasn't human. Growls. Snarls. The wet slap of something feasting. Claire gripped my arm. Tom, we can't go in there. I stared at the entrance, heart pounding in my ears. Karen was in there. Or what was left of her. Either way, I had to know. I racked the shotgun, the sound echoing in the empty street. Claire shook her head, tears streaking her cheeks. Please, don't make me go in there. You don't have to, I said softly. But I do. Her grip tightened, trembling. I'm not letting you go alone. We stood together, staring at the gaping black maw of the hospital doors. The wind shifted, carrying the reek of blood and decay. I took a step forward. And from deep inside the hospital, something screamed, long, high, and hungry. The sound froze my blood. Still, I whispered more to myself than to her. She's still in there. And then we walked into the dark. The glass doors were shattered, the entrance yawning wide like a broken mouth. I stepped over the jagged edges, shotgun raised, every muscle tensed. Claire followed close, her bat gripped so hard her knuckles had gone pale. The hospital lobby was wrecked. Chairs overturned. A wheelchair on its side, one wheel spinning slowly. Papers littered the floor in drifts, footprints smeared in blood across them. The smell hit first, sharp disinfectant undercut by copper and rot. It was the kind of smell that clung to your clothes, crawled into your lungs. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, flickering at random, casting long, stuttering shadows across the walls. Somewhere deeper inside, a machine beeped weakly, out of rhythm like a dying heartbeat. Claire's whisper broke the silence. Oh my God. I didn't answer. My eyes scanned everything, stairwells, corridors, broken doors. The hospital was alive, but not with people. Something scraped against tile in the distance. A dragging sound. We froze. Another sound followed, a wet, sucking noise like meat torn from bone. Then a low groan. Claire trembled beside me. They're in here. Stay close. No noise, I murmured. We crept past the reception desk. The glass partition was shattered, the counter smeared with handprints. Behind it, a monitor flickered static, throwing ghostly light across a shape slumped in the chair. At first, I thought it was another corpse. Then the shape stirred. A nurse, or what was left of one. Her scrubs were soaked black at the stomach, her chin and chest slick with dried gore. Her head jerked up at the sound of our steps. Eyes wide. Mouth smeared red. She hissed, launching forward into the glass shards that had once been the partition. Her arms flailed, body convulsing as the shards tore into her skin, but she didn't stop. Claire gasped, stumbling back. I didn't waste a shell. I jammed the crowbar forward through the opening, drove it into her skull. She collapsed behind the counter with a wet thud. Claire gagged into her sleeve. Jesus Christ. I wrenched the crowbar free, wiping the gore on my jeans. Keep moving. We crossed the lobby into the main corridor. The walls here were worse, smeared handprints, frantic messages scrawled in blood. Help. Trapped second FLR. Don't open. A gurney lay tipped over against the wall, and 4 bag dangling from its hook, fluid dripping slowly onto the tile. We passed an exam room with the door half open. Inside, a man lay strapped to a bed, leather restraints biting into his wrists. His chest rose and fell in jerks, breath rasping, but his skin was the same gray as the others. His eyes snapped open as we passed. He thrashed against the straps, snarling, teeth clacking together. The leather strained, creaked. Claire froze, staring in horror. "Leave him," I said. "But, leave him." She tore her gaze away, tears welling in her eyes. The deeper we went, the more oppressive it felt. Every hallway echoed with faint noises, something scuttling above the ceiling tiles, a door creaking shut in the distance, a low groan vibrating through the vents. The infected outside were loud. These weren't. They stalked. They waited. At the end of one hallway, a dark shape stood motionless. I raised the shotgun, sweat trickling down my back. It didn't move. We edged closer. Not a person. A mannequin. One of those CPR dummies from a training room, its plastic face smeared with bloody handprints. Claire let out a shaky laugh, half hysterical. Then we heard it, footsteps. Not ours. Soft, slow. Coming from the stairwell ahead. I signaled Claire back against the wall. The door creaked open. Something stepped out. A man in a lab coat, stethoscope dangling from his neck. His head lolled to one side, the skin at his throat torn open. His hands twitched spastically, fingernails scraped raw. He sniffed the air like an animal catching a scent. Claire's breath caught in her throat. I raised the shotgun. The doctor's head snapped toward us. His mouth opened wide, wider than it should have, jaw cracking, and he shrieked. From behind him, the stairwell erupted with movement. Dozens of them, spilling out in jerks and spasms. Claire screamed. "Run!" I shouted, firing into the first as we bolted back down the hall. The hallway erupted into chaos. My first shot tore through the doctor's skull, spraying bone and brain across the stairwell door. But more poured out behind him. Men in patient gowns, nurses, strangers, all twisted, all broken, all fast. Their feet slapped the tile like drumbeats. Their snarls filled the corridor, echoing in every direction. "Go!" I shoved Claire ahead of me. We sprinted, boots hammering against the blood-slick floor. Papers and 4 stands toppled as we barreled past. The fluorescent lights flickered, turning the chase into a strobe nightmare, shadows stretching, teeth flashing, hands reaching. Claire swung the bat behind her once, catching one across the face. It went down screaming, only for 2 more to leap over it. I fired again, the recoil slamming into my shoulder. One head burst like a melon, the body collapsing in a heap. Click. Empty. Shit. I dropped the shotgun to the sling at my side, yanked the crowbar free and kept moving. We rounded a corner and nearly collided with a barricade, a vending machine shoved across the hall, chairs piled on top. "Over," I barked. I boosted Claire up, shoving her until she scrambled across the top. She landed hard on the other side, gasping. The infected surged closer. I climbed, hauling myself over, boots slipping on candy wrapper stuck to the glass. Hands clawed at my jeans, teeth snapping at my ankles. One nearly caught me, but I swung the crowbar down, caving its temple in. I dropped to the floor beside Claire. "Run." We bolted again, our breaths ragged, hearts hammering. The corridor narrowed. Signs pointed the way, ICU to pediatrics, radiology to ICU. Karen. "Upstairs," I panted. Claire shook her head, wild-eyed. "They'll trap us." "She's there." No time to argue. I grabbed her wrist and pulled. We found the stairwell and shoved through. The air inside was rank, humid, buzzing faintly with flies. Blood smeared the railing. I glanced upward. Dim light filtered down from the second-floor landing. Something moved up there. A silhouette, small. A child. My chest clenched. The figure stepped into the light. Not a child. Not anymore. Its face was chewed away, eyes milky, jaw gnawed to bone. It staggered to the railing, then shrieked. The sound echoed down the stairwell like a siren. From below, more shrieks answered. Up. I shoved Claire ahead of me and we scrambled up the steps 2 at a time. The child lunged, tiny fingers clawing. I slammed the crowbar down, crushing its skull. Claire gagged but didn't stop. We burst onto the 2nd floor, shoving the door shut behind us. Something slammed against it immediately, shaking it on its hinges. The ICU hallway was worse than the first. Beds lined the walls, curtains half drawn. Some still had shapes under the sheets. One twitched faintly. Another lay perfectly still, chest cavity gaping open, organs missing. The beeping machines had mostly gone silent. The one still alive let out a weak, irregular tone, like flat lines that refused to end. Claire covered her mouth, tears brimming. This is hell. Stay focused, I said, scanning the doors. Each was labeled. ICU. 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 Karen's name had to be on one of them. But which? We crept down the hall, every shadow a threat. Somewhere behind a curtain, something shifted, followed by the wet slap of flesh on tile. We froze. A shape crawled out, dragging itself on hands slick with blood. Its legs were gone, torn away at the waist. It pulled itself forward with unnatural speed, leaving a black trail across the floor. Claire swung the bat with a choked sob. The skull split, spraying dark gore. She trembled afterward, gagging, but didn't drop the weapon. She was learning. I almost hated that. At the end of the hall, we found the ICU doors. Someone had tried to barricade them with a gurney, chairs, and a filing cabinet. Handprints smeared the walls around it, some in blood, some in dirt. I shoved the barricade aside, gritting my teeth against the screech of metal on tile. Claire hissed, "You'll bring them?" "I don't care." We forced the doors open. Inside, the lights flickered weakly. Monitors beeped faintly. And voices. Human voices. "Stop. Who's there?" A man appeared from behind a bed, a scalpel clutched in shaking hands. He wore a doctor's coat, his face gaunt, eyes wild. Behind him, more survivors stirred. 2 nurses, an older woman in a patient gown, a young man clutching his arm like it was broken. And then I saw her. Karen. My sister. She lay on a bed at the far wall, pale, sweat-soaked, her leg wrapped in makeshift bandages. Her eyes fluttered open when she heard my voice. "Tom?" I froze. My throat closed. "Karen." She tried to sit up, pain flashing across her face. "You came." I rushed to her side, ignoring the scalpel, ignoring the others. Her skin was burning hot. The bandages were soaked dark. "Don't," one of the nurses said sharply. She was bitten. The words hit like a hammer. "Bitten." Claire gasped behind me. I gripped Karen's hand, my jaw tight. "No. She's alive." The nurse shook her head. "For now." Karen's skin burned under my hand. She trembled, her breath shallow, every exhale rattling. Her eyes found mine, the same gray-green we'd shared since childhood. "You shouldn't be here," she whispered. "I had to," I said. My throat tightened. I couldn't just. "Tom," she cut me off weakly, her voice a rasp, "you should have stayed away." The doctor with the scalpel moved closer. His coat was torn, stained, his face hollow. "She was brought in 3 hours ago. Bitten on the leg during the first wave. We tried to stop the spread, but..." He hesitated, eyes flicking to me. "You know what happens." I shook my head. "No, not her." The nurse, sharp-eyed, exhausted, maybe mid-30s, stepped forward. "We've seen it over and over. Fever. Sweating. Then the tremors. Within 12 hours, they change." "She hasn't changed," I snapped. "Not yet," she said. Claire hovered near the door, clutching the bat, her face pale. She didn't meet my eyes. The survivors whispered among themselves. The young man with the broken arm muttered, "We can't keep her. She'll turn. We're trapped in here as it is." The older woman shook her head fiercely. She's still alive. You don't kill someone just because you're scared. The group split down the middle, fear against compassion. The doctor rubbed his temples, the scalpel trembling in his grip. We don't have supplies to waste. And when she changes, she'll kill us all. It's not a matter of if, it's when. My jaw clenched. Then I'll watch her. She's my responsibility, not yours. He met my gaze, hollow eyes unblinking. That's what every brother, husband, parent says. And then they scream when it happens. The words cut deep. But I didn't let go of Karen's hand. She tugged weakly at my sleeve. Tom? I leaned close. Her lips quivered. You can't let me hurt anyone. Promise me. My throat closed. The room blurred. Don't say that. She coughed, wincing, and a fresh stain spread through her bandages. Promise. I couldn't speak. I just squeezed her hand tighter. The doctor sighed, turning away. Then it settled. She stays. But when the time comes, I'll handle it, I growled. His eyes lingered on me, then dropped. For a moment, the room went quiet, just the weak beeping of the remaining monitors and the faint hum of the backup lights. Then the pounding started. Something hammered against the ICU doors we'd slipped through. Wood splintered. Metal groaned. The survivors froze, eyes wide. They followed us, Claire whispered. The doctor cursed under his breath. We can't hold them out. The barricade's gone. The nurse grabbed a tray of instruments, hands shaking. The young man clutched his broken arm tighter. The older woman whimpered a prayer. Karen's grip tightened around mine. Tom? I stood, cocking the shotgun. Nobody touches her. You hear me? The pounding grew louder. Snarls joined it. Claws scraped metal. And then, as if the building itself answered, the lights flickered. Once. Twice. Then everything went dark. The beeping monitors died. The humming machines went silent. Only the pounding remained, echoing in the black. And from somewhere deep in the hospital, a chorus of screams rose, shrill, inhuman, dozens of voices crying out at once. Claire's whisper trembled in the dark. Tom, they're coming. The dark was absolute. Every breath sounded too loud, too close. Somewhere, a metal tray clattered to the floor. Someone stifled a sob. I forced my breathing steady, shotgun braced, ears straining. The pounding at the doors quickened, no longer steady blows but frantic, frenzied. Nails screeched down the metal. Snarls seeped through the cracks. They'll break through, the young man muttered, panic rising. We're trapped. Shut up, the nurse hissed. A low groan came from the far side of the room. For one chilling second I thought it was Karen. But no. From a curtained bed near the corner, something stirred. The curtain shivered. Then it was ripped down, the rod clattering. A patient lay strapped to the bed, skin gray, eyes glazed white. His chest convulsed as he screeched, arms jerking against the restraints. Claire gasped. They left one in here. The doctor lunged forward, stabbing the scalpel down into the patient's skull again and again, blood spraying his coat. The body went still, the echo of the wet stabs filling the silence. The doctor staggered back, chest heaving, eyes wild. The pounding at the door grew louder. The frame began to crack. Listen to me, I whispered, voice low but firm. When they break in, we don't run. We hold. We make them pay for every inch. Karen doesn't move. Claire's breathing quickened. Tom? I cut her off. You stay by her. Anyone tries to touch her, you swing that bat until they don't get up. Got it? She hesitated, then nodded, jaw tight. The nurse clutched a tray like a shield. The older woman gripped a broken four-pole like a spear. The young man trembled, useless with his broken arm. The doctor stared at me, face pale in the faint emergency light that flickered back to life. We can't win this. We run now, we might survive. I shook my head. You run, you die. He swallowed hard. The doors gave way. The barricade burst inward, chairs flying, metal shrieking. And they came. Dozens, maybe more, bodies twisted and broken, faces slack with hunger, jaws snapping, eyes rolling white. They poured into the ICU like a flood of teeth and claws. I fired. The blast lit the room in a strobe of gore, the nearest infected collapsing in a heap. Hold them back. I roared. Claire swung the bat, cracking a skull wide open. The nurse shrieked, stabbing with scissors. The older woman jabbed the four-pole wildly, impaling one through the throat. The doctor slashed with his scalpel, eyes wide with terror. But there were too many. Hands clawed at the beds, teeth gnashing. One leapt onto the young man, biting into his shoulder. His scream was high and raw before blood filled it. Another barreled toward Karen's bed. No. I slammed the crowbar down, caving its skull. Her eyes widened, tears streaking down her cheeks. Tom? I'm here. I bellowed, firing again. Another head burst, but the blast left my ears ringing. The infected kept coming, crawling over each other, piling into the room. We were drowning in them. The nurse went down, dragged screaming into the swarm. The older woman vanished beneath a wall of bodies, her prayer cut short. The doctor hacked wildly, blood spraying his face, until one tore his throat out with a single bite. He gurgled, dropping to the floor. Claire stood her ground, swinging until the bat was slick, until her arms shook. Tom, she cried. I've got you. I reloaded, shells clattering, pumping, firing. The crowbar swung between shots, cracking bone, splitting faces. But it wasn't enough. For every one that fell, 3 more pushed forward. Karen's hand reached out, trembling, desperate. Please? I grabbed it, clutching tight with one hand, firing with the other. I won't let them take you. Her tears mixed with sweat. Her voice broke. Tom, if it happens. Don't say it. I screamed, choking back the truth, rage and grief twisting in my chest. Her lips quivered. Promise me. I fired again, the blast deafening, the recoil jarring my shoulder. I promise. I roared. The room was a slaughterhouse. Blood slicked the floor. Bodies writhed and collapsed. Screams turned to gurgles, then silence. But somehow, Claire and I still stood. Breath heaving. Arms trembling. Weapons dripping. Around us, the infected corpses twitched, some still clawing weakly before going still. The ICU was destroyed. The survivors were gone. Only us and Karen. Still alive. Still burning with fever. Still bitten. I dropped the shotgun, chest heaving, ears ringing. I sank to my knees beside her, gripping her hand. Her eyes searched mine, filled with pain and love and fear. Tom? I brushed the damp hair from her face. My throat locked, my chest burning. You're not alone, I whispered. Claire leaned against the wall, shaking, blood smeared across her face. Her voice was raw. They'll be back. More will come. I knew she was right, but I didn't care. For now, all I could do was hold Karen's hand. For now, all I could do was keep my promise. The ICU hallway was a ruin. Smoke curled from scorched tiles, shattered monitors blinked erratically, and the floor was slick with blood that refused to dry. For a moment, we just sat there, breathing hard, crouched behind the overturned gurney. Karen lay between us, her hand in mine. The fever burned through her skin. Every shiver made her whimper. Her leg, wrapped in the blood-soaked bandages, throbbed. Tom, she whispered. Her voice was weak, rasping. I don't want to. Shoo, don't talk. Just stay with me, I said, pressing my palm to hers. Claire sat against the wall, bat still in hand, shaking. Her eyes darted to every shadow, every flicker of movement in the ruined ICU. We can't stay here. They'll come back. I know, I muttered. My fingers grazed the bite on Karen's leg, swollen, darkened. But we can't just leave her either. I could feel the weight of every choice pressing down. The hospital was collapsing. Fires burned in far wings. Floors groaned under the strain of smashed stairwells. Outside, the city was falling apart. And inside, she might not last the night. I knelt, examining her wound. Blood loss was significant, but not fatal yet. The tissue was torn cleanly. I could see the blackened bruising spreading. I thought back to my prepper manuals, survival guides, and the countless hours I'd spent researching emergencies. No zombie infection had ever been documented outside fiction, but I reasoned logically. Rapid onset, fever, muscle tremors. Bite location mattered. Time mattered. We had a small window, maybe a few hours, before the infection became irreversible. I tore a strip of cloth from my shirt and began to compress the bite, tying it as tightly as I dared without cutting circulation. Karen groaned, shivering. "Tom," she said, voice trembling, "if it happens, you have to." "No," I interrupted sharply, gripping her hand. "I won't. Not you. Not ever." Claire flinched. "Tom, what if she turns? We can't just keep her here." I looked at her, eyes burning. "Then we fight. Every step of the way. She's my sister. She stays alive as long as I do." We moved Karen into an office adjoining the ICU. The door was dented, but I shoved a filing cabinet against it, then overturned a supply cart. We pushed in a chair, a gurney, anything that could slow them. I leaned back against the wall, shoulders slumping. The blood-stained room smelled like rot and antiseptic, mixing with the metallic tang of panic. Karen rested her head on my shoulder. Her eyes fluttered closed, sweat dripping down her temples. I pressed my forehead to hers. "We'll get through this," I whispered, though my voice wavered. Claire paced near the wall, hands gripping the bat. "We can't last long here. There's no food, no water. If more of them come." "I know," I said. I closed my eyes for a second, running a hand through my hair. My mind raced through options. 1. Stay, fortify the office, defend her at all costs. 2. Attempt to flee through the hospital to the rooftop helipad or back outside, risking the infection spreading in transit. 3. Isolate her completely, leaving me and Claire to survive without her. Each choice had consequences. Each one could kill us all. I remembered a memory from years ago, Karen and I playing in the backyard, laughing as we dodged sprinklers. The sound of her laughter had always been a tether to my childhood, a reminder of home. And now, she was lying here, pale, bitten, depending on me for every breath. I swallowed hard, voice tight. "I can't leave her. I won't leave her." Claire stopped pacing. Her lips trembled. "You're insane." "Maybe," I said. "But she's my family. That's all that matters right now." The sounds outside grew louder. Nails scraping metal. Groans. The low, wet thuds of bodies hitting walls. They were regrouping. I checked Karen's breathing. Fast, shallow. Fever rising. Eyes flickering. Her hand tightened around mine. "Tom, if it happens." "Don't say it," I whispered, gripping her wrist, shaking my head. A crash echoed from down the hall, the sound of furniture splintering under the weight of the infected. Another followed. And another. Claire pressed herself against the wall. "We have to move. Now." I looked at Karen. Her eyes met mine, pleading, weak. "Stay with me," I whispered. "I won't leave you," I added, voice cracking. I searched the office quickly. Supplies were minimal. A first aid kit, 2 flashlights, half a box of batteries, a fire extinguisher. Not enough for long-term survival, but enough to buy a few hours. I tied Karen's legs loosely to the chair for stability, adjusted her bandages, and gave Claire a quick nod. "We move. Keep her stable. Don't let her stumble." She swallowed hard, gripping the bat. "What if she turns?" I glared at her, voice low but deadly. "Then we fight. Together. You, me, and her. Understand?" She nodded, pale but resolute. I peeked through the cracked door. Hallway clear. For now. The shadows shifted as the emergency lights flickered weakly. Time was running out. The fever was rising. And every second brought the infection closer to taking her. Karen's hand twitched in mine. "Tom, stay." "I won't let go," I whispered. The building groaned, alarms flickering back to life for a moment before dying again. Somewhere in the distance, a door splintered. Nails scraped tile. Low growls echoed closer. I pressed my forehead to Karen's, shaking slightly. Whatever happens, I'm here. I'm not leaving. Not now. Not ever. Her eyelids fluttered. A faint groan escaped her lips. Claire's eyes widened. I held her tighter, whispering over the chaos. Stay with me, please. The hallway outside the office was a nightmare frozen in time. Floors slick with blood, overturned gurneys, and smashed monitors reflected the weak emergency lights in flickering patterns. Every shadow could hide death. Every echo was a warning. Karen leaned against me, shivering, her fever radiating heat that made the blood on my hands feel cold by comparison. Her breaths came in short, ragged bursts. I adjusted her bandages as best I could, wincing at the dark stains that spread through the cloth. We have to move, I whispered to Claire. We can't stay here. They'll break through. Her eyes were wide, panicked. Tom, she's burning up. What if she turns while we're moving? I shook my head. Then we fight. Together. We've survived worse. Trust me. We slipped the office door open slowly, peering into the hall. For a moment, it seemed empty. A stack of overturned chairs blocked the far end, giving us a small corridor to cross. I led, shotgun raised, crowbar ready. Karen leaned on me, weak but conscious, murmuring apologies. Don't, I whispered, gripping her hand tighter. You're not the enemy. Claire followed, bat raised, eyes scanning every shadow. Her face was pale but resolute. The first step into the hall made the floor groan. A low, wet thump echoed from the ceiling. Something fell, or someone. We froze, hearts hammering. The sound of crawling, dragging, groaning came from both directions. I motioned them forward, quick but quiet. Every hallway we crossed was a minefield. Broken glass, puddles of blood, and the occasional twitching corpse that had somehow remained animated enough to trip the unwary. We reached the elevator lobby. Elevators were dead, lights flickering, cables sparking. One car door hung open at a tilted angle, cables frayed inside. No luck, I muttered. Stairs. Up or down? Karen moaned softly. Her face was pale and damp with sweat. Her hand twitched weakly in mine. We have to go up, I said. Rooftop. Maybe a way out. Claire's face twisted. You mean outside? Through all that? Yes. Outside is safer than here. But we have to move fast. I glanced at Karen's leg. The bite had darkened and her tremors were worsening. Fever raging. I could feel the infection edging closer with every passing minute. I gritted my teeth. We'll get her out. That's all that matters. The stairwell was tight, narrow, concrete. Each step groaned under our weight. Every door we passed showed signs of horror, smashed offices, beds stripped of linens, blood-smeared messages still faint on the walls. Help, don't open, they're everywhere. The smell was almost unbearable. The stench of rot, blood, and fever mixed into something sharp and clinging. Karen groaned softly, clutching my arm. Almost there, I whispered. One step at a time. A sudden crash echoed above. Something had fallen from the higher floors. Screams followed, mingled with snarls and the wet slap of infected feet. Move! I shouted, pushing Karen carefully. Claire was close behind, swinging the bat at a shadow that lunged at us from an open doorway. A body collapsed, twitching, then lay still. I felt Karen shiver violently. Her breaths came faster. Fever burning through her. Tom? I can't, she whispered. Yes, you can, I replied, voice steady but shaking. Hold on. Just a little longer. We reached the third-floor landing. The door to the roof was locked, a small barricade of furniture thrown against it. I yanked at the door, jammed. Sparks flew from a broken light above, illuminating the hallway for a second. And that's when we heard it, a low, guttural growl. From the other end of the hall. Slow, deliberate. Closer than it should be. Claire froze. They're here. I didn't answer. My heart pounded in my chest. I could feel the fever in Karen's skin, the tremors increasing, the infection creeping. Every second mattered. I shoved the barricade aside, swinging it open. The roof access was blocked with twisted metal, but just enough room for Karen to pass. I went first, guiding her, Claire close behind. The roof was open to the sky. Smoke from the city curled in spirals, a dim orange against the night. The wind was biting, carrying the smell of fires and rot. But it was open. Space. A momentary reprieve. Karen collapsed against the floor, weak. I knelt, gripping her hands. Stay with me, I whispered. I don't want to, she rasped, fever burning her cheeks. I don't want to hurt anyone. You won't, I said firmly, eyes scanning the horizon. Not while I'm here. Not while Claire's here. I promise. Claire knelt beside us. We don't have much time, she said quietly. Her bat rested against her shoulder, eyes scanning the edges of the roof. More will come. I glanced over the ledge, city streets below littered with cars, smoke, fire, and the occasional twitching figure. The infected were moving, regrouping, hunting. Karen shivered violently, sweat dripping from her temples. Her eyes flickered, momentarily glassy. I can feel it, she whispered. Tom? I can feel it taking me. I gritted my teeth, brushing damp hair from her face. Not yet. Not while I'm here. You stay with me. Promise me you'll stay with me. Her hand tightened around mine. Weak but alive. I promise, she rasped. A sudden crash sounded from below. A portion of the roof railing gave way under the weight of a fallen beam. I spun, shotgun raised. Shadows moved along the edge. More infected, scrambling, climbing, surging toward us. Claire swung the bat, cracking a head open. Blood sprayed. I fired, recoil slamming into my shoulder, but the figures kept coming. Karen whimpered. Fever spiking. Tremors worse. Her skin flushed, face pale and hot. I pressed my forehead to hers. Stay with me, I whispered. Whatever happens, I'm right here. The wind howled, carrying the distant screams of the city. Fires burned. The infected swarmed. But for that moment, all that mattered was her hand in mine. And the promise I made I would keep even if it killed me. The wind tore across the roof, sharp and biting, carrying the distant screams of a city unraveling. Smoke swirled around us, burning my eyes, filling my lungs with ash and the metallic scent of blood. Karen lay trembling at my side, fever raging. Her skin glowed unnaturally in the emergency light's flicker, sweat slicking her hair to her temples. Every shiver made my chest ache. Tom, she whispered, voice weak. I can feel it. I don't. I pressed my hand to hers. Shoo. Not yet. Not while I'm here. I'm not leaving you. Claire crouched near the ledge, bat ready, eyes darting to the edges of the roof. They're climbing, she hissed. More are coming. I raised the shotgun. A faint clatter, the scrape of nails along concrete. Shadows shifted along the rooftop's edge, climbing from the fire-ruined floors below. Tom, what do we do? Claire whispered. Her voice trembled, but she didn't look away. I didn't answer. I scanned the horizon. Fire. Smoke. Twisted metal. The city below was chaos incarnate. And behind us, or above us, the infected were relentless, pushing, clawing, surging. Karen's tremors worsened. Fevered eyes flickering, lips chapped and quivering. Her hand twitched in mine. I can't, she rasped. Shoo, don't, I murmured, brushing hair from her face. I've got you. I promise. She shivered violently, forehead damp, breath shallow and quick. The bite was darkening, the tissue around it swelling. Every instinct told me time was slipping. Every instinct told me to fight, to survive. But I had no plan if she turned mid-rooftop. I had only one choice. Claire, I said quietly, voice firm, We're going to move her. Roof to fire escape. That's our only chance. She swallowed hard, eyes wide. And if she changes? I shook my head. Then we fight. We make it count. No one touches her before me. Understand? Her nod was barely visible, but I could feel her resolve harden. I slid the first aid kit toward me, ripping gauze for quick wraps and compression. I tied Karen's legs as best I could to prevent stumbling, adjusted her bandages. Every motion counted. Every second mattered. I lifted her slowly. She winced, weak but alive. Stay close, I whispered to Claire. Cover us. The fire escape loomed at the edge of the building. Rusted, bent in places but solid enough to hold us, barely. I guided Karen carefully, one step at a time. Each step scraped metal, echoing across the rooftop. From below, a chorus of guttural growls rose. Nails scraped concrete. Hands clawed at walls. Shadows climbed. Claire swung the bat at the first figure to reach the edge. Crack. Blood sprayed. Another lunged. I blasted it with the shotgun, body collapsing. Still more kept coming. Karen groaned softly. Fever burning her. Tremors worsening. I can't, she whimpered. You can, I said firmly, brushing her damp hair from her eyes. Stay with me. I'm not letting go. Halfway down the fire escape, the metal groaned. A loose railing bent under our weight. One misstep and we could plummet dozens of feet onto the rubble-strewn streets below. Careful. I snapped, keeping my shotgun raised. Below, the infected clawed at the walls, reaching. Some fell from the building, screaming, only to rise again. Claire swung the bat in tight arcs, taking down 2, then 3. I felt the sweat on my brow, the heat from Karen's fever radiating through my chest. Every heartbeat screamed, we might not make it. But I couldn't let go. We reached the rooftop of the next lower floor, a small ledge overlooking a side street. Smoke curled thickly below, fire licking through abandoned cars and debris. The infected below had stopped climbing. They swarmed in the streets like ants, unable to reach us for now. Karen's body slumped against me, weak and fevered. Her eyes fluttered, clouding slightly. I froze. Her lips parted. A low, wet growl escaped. Claire gasped, stepping back, bat raised. Tom, she. I gritted my teeth, holding her tighter. No, not yet. You stay with me. Fight it. I promise. Her eyes, clouding further, searched mine. I'm scared. I know, I whispered. I'm here. I won't leave you. The fire escape below creaked violently. The first of the climbing infected reached the edge. They clawed, hands slapping metal, eyes rolling white. I fired the shotgun, spraying the nearest one in a red mist. Another surged upward, teeth snapping. Claire swung the bat, cracking skulls as we descended. Karen whimpered, tremors worsening. Fever rising. Bite darkening. I pulled her closer. Stay with me. Don't let go. Not now. Not ever. Her hands twitched, weakly gripping mine. She moaned low, almost human, almost lost. The city burned below. The infected surged above. The rooftops swayed under our weight. And all I could do was hold her tight, whispering the promise that would drive me through whatever came next. I won't let you go. The fire escape shuddered beneath us, rusted metal groaning as we made the last stretch down to the side street. Smoke rose from burning cars and debris, curling into the night sky, but for the moment the street below was clear. The infected still swarmed, their groans echoing, but none had climbed all the way to us. I set Karen gently on the pavement, crouching beside her. Her body was trembling violently, fever blazing, pulse fast and shallow. She shivered in a way that made my chest tighten. Her lips were chapped, quivering, eyes flickering between focus and the clouded haze of infection. Tom, she whispered, voice weak. I don't. Shoo, I said, pressing my hand to hers. You're not alone. I'm right here. Claire's right here. I won't leave you. Claire crouched nearby, bat ready, eyes scanning the street. "We can't stay here long," she said quietly, voice tight. "They'll find us if we linger." I nodded, swallowing hard. Karen's tremors worsened. Her fever burned through her body, the bite spreading. Time was slipping. Every second mattered. "We have to keep moving," I said. "We can't let them corner us, not like this. But we go slow. I won't let her stumble." I ripped gauze from the first aid kit and pressed it tighter around the bite, trying to slow the swelling, to hold back the inevitable. Karen whimpered against me, shivering uncontrollably. Her eyes flickered, clouding slightly. "I'm scared," she whispered. "I know," I murmured, brushing damp hair from her forehead. "I know, but you fight it. You stay with me. I promise." Her hand twitched weakly in mine. "I can't." "Yes, you can," I said firmly. "I've got you. Every step. No matter what comes. I won't let you go." The infection crept closer with each moment, darkening the skin around her bite, trembling muscles threatening to buckle under its grip. The air carried the smell of smoke and decay, thick and choking. Every distant scream reminded me that time was short. Claire helped me guide Karen along the side street, careful of the rubble and broken pavement. Each step was a battle, for balance, for survival, for the fragile hope that we might make it. From a ruined storefront, a shadow moved. Infected, drawn to sound, clawing through glass and debris. "Cover us," I shouted. Claire swung the bat, cracking a skull as the first figure lunged. I fired the shotgun, spray of red and bone scattering, but more surged from the darkness. Karen whimpered again, tremors increasing. Fever spiking. Her eyes flickered, clouding further. I pressed her closer. "Stay with me," I whispered. "You fight it. Don't let go." The street opened into a small plaza, partially barricaded by abandoned vehicles. A chance for temporary safety. I guided Karen behind a reinforced car door, crouching beside her, gripping her hand tightly. Her breath came in ragged bursts. I could feel her pulse racing, fever scorching. She looked at me with cloudy eyes. "Tom," she rasped. I feel it. It's coming." I shook my head, voice tight with anger and fear. "Not now. Not while I'm here. You fight it. Fight it for me. I'm not leaving you." Claire rested a hand on my shoulder, trembling. "We can't hold them off forever." "I know," I whispered, brushing Karen's damp hair from her face. "But we hold on as long as we can. Together. I'll protect her. Even if it's the last thing I do." Karen's hand twitched in mine, weakly squeezing. A faint growl escaped her lips, soft, almost human, almost lost. I pressed my forehead to hers. "Stay with me," I whispered. "Whatever happens, I'm right here. I won't let go. I promise." Her eyes clouded further, but her grip on my hand remained, fragile yet alive. From the ruins around us, the groans of the city's dead grew louder. The fire burned higher. Smoke spiraled into the sky. And through it all, I held her hand, a lifeline in the chaos. We had reached temporary safety for now. But the infection in Karen was reaching a tipping point. And the next choice, whether to flee, fight, or face what was coming, would determine if any of us survived the night. I whispered one final promise into the smoky night, gripping her hand tighter than ever. "I won't let you go. Not now. Not ever." The city burned around us, and the smoke stung my eyes, sharp and bitter. Streets were littered with abandoned cars, overturned trash bins, and bodies, some still twitching, some silent, already gone. The groans of the infected carried through the ruins, echoing off concrete and glass, a choir of hunger and death. Karen leaned against me, shivering violently. Fever burned her skin, tremors racking her body. Her grip on my hand was weak but unbroken, the only tether keeping me focused. "Tom," she rasped, voice barely audible. I can't." "Yes, you can," I whispered, pressing my hand to hers. "Stay with me. Fight it. I'm not leaving you." Claire crouched beside us, bat raised, eyes scanning the streets. We can't linger here. They'll find us. We need to move, now. I nodded, forcing my body to stand despite the weight of fatigue, fear, and the searing heat of Karen's fever through my arms. Roof to street, then south. There's a fire escape down the alley. It might take us to the main road. The first step onto the street was a risk. Broken glass crunched underfoot, and I could hear faint shuffles behind us. A group of infected had gathered near a collapsed building. They hadn't seen us, yet. Keep her low, I murmured. Move slow, quiet. Karen leaned weakly against me and I adjusted my grip on the shotgun. Claire followed, swinging the bat toward anything that shifted in the shadows. The street was chaos. Cars burnt to husks, fires licking the walls of abandoned storefronts. Smoke rose in thick clouds, obscuring the stars. And through it all, the low moan of the city's dead carried on the wind, chasing us, mocking us. Halfway down the block, a figure lunged from behind a car. Its skin was gray, lips torn, teeth snapping. I fired the shotgun, the blast deafening in the night. The figure collapsed, twitching, and then lay still. Claire swung the bat at another that lunged toward Karen. Crack. Its skull split, blood spraying onto the pavement. Karen whimpered, tremors increasing. Fever rising. Her eyes flickered, clouding slightly. Stay with me, I whispered, brushing damp hair from her face. I've got you. Fight it. Don't let go. Her hand twitched, weak but alive. We reached the alley leading to the fire escape. Rusted metal, twisted in places but solid enough. I guided Karen carefully, every step a careful negotiation with the uneven ground. The infected were still behind us, drawn by the sound of our movement. Almost there, I whispered. One step at a time. The fire escape swayed as we climbed. Metal groaned under our weight. Each step echoed, a warning to the city's dead. From the shadows below, figures clawed at the wall, snapping teeth, reaching. I fired, taking down 2, then 3 more. Claire swung the bat, her arms shaking, cracking skulls as we ascended. Karen shivered violently, fever burning, tremors worsening. At the rooftop landing we paused. Smoke curled thickly, fire burned below, but for now the street beyond was clear. Karen collapsed against me, weak and trembling. I can feel it, she whispered, voice cracking. It's coming? No, I said firmly, pressing my forehead to hers. Not yet. You fight it. Stay with me. I'm right here. Her eyes, clouding further, searched mine. I could see the struggle inside her, humanity clawing against what the infection wanted to take. Claire crouched beside us. We need to move. Now. I nodded, swallowing hard. Every step, every decision carried life or death. I lifted Karen carefully, guiding her toward the edge of the building. Below, the street stretched like a gauntlet, rubble, fire, and the ever-present groans of the infected. But a narrow alley offered a chance, a corridor to reach the main road. Cover us, I whispered to Claire. Anything that moves, you stop. She nodded, bat at the ready, eyes scanning shadows. I adjusted Karen's grip in my arms. Her body was hot, trembling, fever burning. Every step was a careful balance, every breath measured. The infection was close, creeping, darkening the bite on her leg. But I would not let go. As we reached the edge of the rooftop, a shadow moved below. The infected had climbed onto a collapsed scaffold. Their eyes rolled white, teeth snapping. I fired the shotgun, the blast deafening. One fell, twitching, then still. Another lunged. Claire swung the bat, cracking its skull open. Karen whimpered, tremors worsening. Fever blazing. Her eyes flickered, nearly clouded. Stay with me, I whispered, holding her tighter. I won't let you go. She weakly squeezed my hand. I'm scared. I know, I said. But fight it. Stay with me. I won't leave you. The city burned around us. The infected closed in. And all I could do was hold her hand, a lifeline in the chaos, whispering the promise I would keep, no matter what came next. I won't let you go. We dropped carefully from the fire escape to the alley below, rubble crunching underfoot. Karen leaned weakly against me, fever burning her skin, tremors racking her body. Each breath she drew was shallow, fast, fragile. I pressed her hand tighter, unwilling to let go. Stay close, I whispered to Claire. Cover our rear. Her bat swung in tight arcs, every shadow treated as a threat. The city beyond the alley was a maze of ruin, burnt-out cars, shattered storefronts, and piles of debris. Smoke from fires mixed with the acrid scent of blood and rot, choking and thick. I scanned ahead. The alley opened to a side street leading toward the main road. A chance, maybe our only one, to escape. But every second the infected behind us grew louder, their snarls echoing off the walls. Karen groaned softly, tremors increasing. Her eyes flickered, clouded with fever and infection. Tom? I can feel it, she rasped. It's coming? Not now, I said firmly, brushing damp hair from her forehead. Fight it. Stay with me. I'm right here. Claire glanced back at the shadows creeping into the alley. We don't have long, she said, voice tight. They're climbing the buildings. I nodded, lifting Karen slightly to help her over a pile of debris. Her weak body nearly slipped from my arms. I gritted my teeth. Every step was a risk, every second critical. Halfway down the alley, a shadow lunged from behind a burnt-out car. Its skin-gray lips torn, teeth snapping. I fired the shotgun, spray of red and bone scattering. Another surged, teeth snapping at Claire's shoulder. She swung the bat, cracking its skull open. Karen whimpered, tremors worsening. Fever burning her through and through. Her eyes flickered again, nearly clouded. Stay with me, I whispered. Don't let go. Fight it. Her hand twitched weakly, but she gripped mine. Fragile. Alive. The alley opened onto the street. Smoke and fire painted everything orange and black. Rubble and abandoned vehicles blocked direct passage, but a narrow corridor offered a way to the main road. I scanned for threats. From the shadows, a group of infected surged toward us, climbing over debris, drawn to movement. Cover us, I shouted. Claire swung the bat like a whirlwind, skulls cracking with wet impact. I fired the shotgun, bodies collapsing, twitching. But more kept coming, relentless. Karen trembled violently, fever blazing. The bite on her leg darkened, swollen, spreading. Her lips parted, a low growl escaping, faint, wet, animalistic. Shoo, I whispered, pressing my forehead to hers. I won't let go. You fight it. Stay with me. Her eyes met mine, clouded but still tethered to me. We moved carefully through the corridor of rubble, one step at a time. Each shadow could hide death. Each sound a threat. A fire truck lay overturned at the next intersection, its twisted metal blocking our path. Behind it, figures scrambled, climbing over the wreckage, drawn by noise. Go around, I muttered, scanning for a side alley. We ducked through a narrow gap between buildings, Karen leaning weakly on me. Her tremors worsened. Fever scorching. Bite darkening. Almost there, I whispered. One step at a time. The narrow alley opened into a larger street. The main road stretched ahead, empty, twisted, ruined, but our only chance. Suddenly, a wall of infected surged from a side street, cutting off our path. Hundreds, maybe more, eyes white, teeth snapping, snarling. Claire froze. Tom, we can't. Yes, we can, I growled. We fight. Every step. Every inch. Protect her. Protect each other. I fired the shotgun, blast deafening in the night. Two fell, twitching, then still. Claire swung the bat, cracking skulls. I used the crowbar to smash another, blood spraying, teeth snapping. Karen whimpered, tremors worsening. Fever raging. Her eyes flickered again, nearly glassy. I pressed my hand to hers. Stay with me, I whispered. I'm here. I won't let go. Fight it. The infected pressed closer, surrounding us. Rubble, fire, smoke, chaos. The city itself seemed to close in. Karen's grip on my hand faltered slightly, tremors more violent, fever spiking. "I can't," she rasped. "Yes, you can," I said firmly. "You stay with me. Don't let go." Her eyes flickered, clouded, but she squeezed my hand. Fragile. Alive. Claire swung the bat at a figure lunging from the left. Crack. Skull split. She didn't look back. I fired the shotgun at a group surging from the right, bodies collapsing, twitching, relentless. Karen whimpered again. Fever scorching. Tremors increasing. Light darkening. I pressed my forehead to hers. "Stay with me," I whispered. "Whatever happens, I'm here. I won't leave you." Her eyes clouded further, but her grip remained. Weak but alive. The main road was in sight, a chance, our only one. But the horde before us blocked the way. Hundreds of bodies, gnashing teeth, eyes rolling white. We had to move. No. I glanced at Claire. We go together. Protect her. Fight through. She nodded, jaw tight, eyes blazing. I lifted Karen carefully. "Hold on," I whispered. "One step at a time. Trust me." The city burned. Smoke curled in thick clouds. Fires licked abandoned cars. The infected pressed closer. And all I could do was hold Karen's hand, a lifeline in the chaos, whispering the promise I would keep no matter what came next. "I won't let you go." The main road stretched before us like a river of death. Hundreds of infected swarmed between the ruined buildings, teeth snapping, eyes rolling white. Smoke and fire painted the night orange and black, casting grotesque shadows across the pavement. I tightened my grip on Karen. Her body trembled violently, fever blazing, her legs swollen and dark around the bite. Every step she took risked collapse. Every breath was a battle. "Hold on," I whispered, pressing my hand to hers. "I've got you. Stay with me." Claire crouched beside me, bat ready, scanning the edges of the horde. "There's a gap up ahead," she hissed. "But it's tight. You'll have to push through." I glanced. The gap was barely wide enough for us to slip past. A narrow stretch between two burnt-out cars, a flickering lamppost overhead. The infected pressed on both sides, snarling, snapping, trying to reach us. Karen whimpered, tremors worsening. "I can't," she rasped. Fever scorching her skin, eyes flickering, nearly clouded. "Yes, you can," I said, voice firm. "Stay with me. Fight it. I won't let go." She squeezed my hand weakly, a fragile tether. Alive. I adjusted my grip on the shotgun, motioned Claire to move. "We go together. Cover her. Don't let them touch her." Claire nodded, jaw tight. "Ready." The first step into the gap was chaos. The infected lunged, claws snapping. I fired the shotgun, the blast deafening. Two collapsed in a twitching heap. Claire swung the bat, cracking skulls. Karen shivered violently, fever burning through her. "Stay with me," I whispered, pressing my forehead to hers. "I'm right here." Her eyes flickered, clouded, but her grip remained. Weak but alive. We pushed through the narrow corridor, the infected pressing on both sides, teeth snapping, snarls filling the night. Rubble and fire slowed our pace. Karen stumbled once and I caught her, holding her upright. "Almost there," I muttered, sweat burning my eyes. "One step at a time." A sudden screech came from behind. More infected had climbed from the ruins, cutting off any easy retreat. The street seemed to close in, walls of smoke and fire, groaning figures. Claire swung the bat in tight arcs, cracking skulls, hacking through anything that lunged toward us. I fired the shotgun, clearing a path, bodies collapsing around us. But the horde was relentless. Karen whimpered, tremors worsening. Fever spiking. Her bite darkened further, tissue swelling, veins spreading black. "Stay with me," I whispered again. "Fight it. Don't let go." Her hand twitched, weakly squeezing mine. Alive. For now. We reached the end of the narrow gap. The street opened onto a slightly wider block, a chance to break through. But the horde pressed closer, every shadow hiding death. "Run," I hissed. "Push through. Don't stop." I lifted Karen as carefully as I could, adjusting her weight to prevent her collapse. Her body burned against mine, tremors violent, fever raging. Claire swung the bat at a figure lunging from the left. Crack. Another from the right, shotgun blast. Bodies collapsed, twitching, but more surged forward. "Hold her," I shouted. "We fight together." The next stretch was the hardest. Rubble, burning cars, and fallen streetlights blocked our path. The infected pressed from all sides, clawing, snarling, relentless. Karen whimpered, lips quivering. "Tom, I can feel it. It's coming." "No," I said firmly, voice tight. "Not yet. Stay with me. Fight it. I won't let go." Her eyes, clouding further, searched mine. Fragile. Alive. Claire hacked through another wave with the bat, arms shaking, sweat dripping down her face. I fired the shotgun, clearing a narrow corridor for us. Karen trembled violently, fever scorching her skin. The bite spread. Dark, angry veins crawling up her leg. I pressed my forehead to hers. "Stay with me. Fight it. I won't let go. Not now. Not ever." Her hand twitched, but she gripped mine. Alive. The block opened onto an intersection. Temporary safety. Fewer infected in sight, the path partially clear. Smoke swirled in thick clouds, flames licking abandoned vehicles. I set Karen gently on the pavement, crouching beside her. Tremors violent. Fever blazing. Bite spreading. Every breath shallow, every heartbeat fragile. "We made it," I whispered, pressing her hand tighter. "For now. Stay with me. Fight it." Claire crouched beside us, bat resting, eyes scanning shadows. "We need to keep moving. They'll regroup." I nodded, scanning the ruins. Main road ahead, chance for real escape. But Karen's condition was worsening fast. Infection creeping. Time slipping. And all I could do was hold her hand, whispering the promise that drove me forward, through smoke, fire, and death. "I won't let you go." The intersection stretched before us, smoke and fire painting the night in orange and black. Fewer infected were in sight, but the groans and shuffles of the horde still echoed through the ruins. The street beyond was our only chance, a path toward temporary safety, toward air, space, and life. Karen leaned against me, trembling violently. Fever burned through her skin, tremors racking her body, by darkening veins spreading black. Every breath she drew was shallow, fragile. Every second felt like a lifetime. "Tom," she rasped, voice weak. I can feel it. I can feel it coming." "No," I whispered, pressing my forehead to hers. "Not yet. You fight it. Stay with me. I'm right here. I won't leave you." Her eyes, flickering, clouded, searched mine. Fragile. Alive. Claire crouched nearby, bat ready, scanning the street. "We don't have long. They're regrouping. More will come." I nodded. We push forward. Together. We fight. Protect her. Every step. We moved slowly, carefully, through the rubble-strewn street. Every shadow could hide death, every sound a threat. The smell of smoke and decay was thick, choking, filling my lungs with fire and rot. Suddenly, a group of infected lunged from the left, teeth snapping, eyes rolling white. I fired the shotgun, blast deafening. Two collapsed, twitching, then still. Claire swung the bat, cracking another skull. Karen whimpered, tremors worsening. Fever spiking. Her body burned against mine. "Stay with me," I whispered. "Fight it. Don't let go." Her hand twitched, weakly squeezing mine. Alive. For now. The main road was within sight, a narrow corridor between burnt-out cars and debris. But the horde had surged again, hundreds of bodies, snarling, teeth snapping, claws reaching. I swallowed hard, scanning for the gap we needed. It was risky, a sprint through a gauntlet of death. "Ready?" I whispered to Claire. She nodded, jaw tight, eyes blazing. Let's go. I lifted Karen as carefully as I could, adjusting her weight to prevent collapse. Her tremors were violent, fever scorching her skin, bite darkening. Hold on, I murmured. Trust me. We ran. One step, then another. The horde lunged, teeth snapping, hands clawing. Claire swung the bat in tight arcs, cracking skulls, holding the wave back. I fired the shotgun, red mist spraying, bodies collapsing, twitching. Karen whimpered, tremors worsening. Fever burning through her, eyes flickering, nearly clouded. I pressed my forehead to hers as we ran. Stay with me, I whispered. I won't let you go. Not now. Not ever. Her hand twitched weakly, squeezing mine. Alive. Fragile. Fighting. Halfway across the street, Karen's body faltered. Tremors violent, fever scorching, the bite dark and angry, spreading fast. She collapsed against me, groaning low, animalistic, a faint growl escaping her lips. Tom, I can't, she rasped, voice breaking. Yes, you can, I said firmly, gripping her tighter. Fight it. Stay with me. I won't leave you. Claire hacked at an infected reaching from the right. Crack. Skull split. Another from the left. Shotgun blast. Bodies collapsed. I felt Karen's grip weaken. Tremors worsening. Fever spiking. Bite spreading. Her eyes fluttered, clouding further. I pressed my forehead to hers, whispering, I'm here. I won't let you go. Fight it. Stay with me. The horde pressed closer, surrounding us on all sides. Smoke thickened, flames licking abandoned vehicles. The city itself seemed to collapse around us. Karen whimpered, tremors violent, fever blazing, lips quivering. A growl escaped her lips, faint, wet, animalistic. I gritted my teeth. Not now. You fight it. Stay with me. I'm right here. Her hand twitched, weakly gripping mine. Alive. Fragile. Claire hacked at another lunging figure, arms shaking, sweat dripping. I fired the shotgun, blasting a path forward. We pushed through step by step, inch by inch, the street a gauntlet of fire, smoke, and the relentless dead. Finally, we reached a temporary safe zone, an abandoned parking lot, barricaded by overturned cars and rubble. Fewer infected, at least for now. I set Karen gently on the pavement, crouching beside her, pressing my hand to hers. Her body trembled violently. Fever blazing. Bite darkening, spreading rapidly. Every breath shallow, every heartbeat fragile. I can feel it, she rasped. Shoo, I whispered. Stay with me. Fight it. I won't let you go. Her eyes flickered, clouded. Tremors violent. Fever raging. But her hand twitched, gripping mine. Alive. Claire rested beside us, bat ready, eyes scanning the streets. We need to move again, she said quietly. They'll regroup. I nodded, swallowing hard. Every decision now carried life or death. Karen's infection was at the tipping point. One more wrong step, one more delay, and she could be lost. I pressed my forehead to hers again, whispering through the smoke and chaos. I won't let you go. Not now. Not ever. The parking lot was a patchwork of abandoned vehicles, twisted metal, and rubble. Smoke curled into the night, mingling with the acrid smell of fire, blood, and rot. For the first time since leaving the hospital, there was a momentary lull. Fewer infected lurked nearby, giving the illusion of safety. I lowered Karen gently onto the cracked pavement, pressing my hand to hers. Her body trembled violently, fever burning through her skin, tremors racking her legs. The bite on her leg had darkened further, veins spreading black, aggressive. Shoo, I whispered. Stay with me. You fight it. I won't let you go. Her eyes flickered, clouded, but her weak grip on my hand remained. Alive. For now. Claire crouched beside us, bat ready, scanning the perimeter. We need to barricade this place, she said quietly. They'll regroup. It won't stay quiet for long. I nodded, glancing around. Abandoned cars, piles of debris, and an old chain-link fence could serve as temporary fortification. But Karen's condition was worsening fast. Every second counted. I tore gauze from the first aid kit, pressing it tighter around Karen's bite, trying to slow the swelling. The infection spread. Her shiver intensified, tremors worsening with every pulse of her fever. I can feel it, she rasped, voice breaking. It's coming? Not yet, I whispered, brushing damp hair from her face. Stay with me. Fight it. I'm right here. Claire began stacking rubble and abandoned furniture to form a barrier at the lot's perimeter. Each sound, a metallic clang, a distant groan, made Karen flinch. I held her closer. Her fever burned through my arms, searing against my chest. We were safe for now. But safe in this city was temporary. And Karen's infection was advancing with alarming speed. Tom, Claire whispered, lowering her voice. What do we do if she turns? I shook my head, jaw tight. We fight. Together. But I won't leave her alone. Not ever. She swallowed hard. This is insane. You can't just keep her alive like this. It could kill all of us. Then we make sure it doesn't, I said firmly. We stay alert, we stay together. She's not just anyone. She's my sister. And I won't let her go. Karen whimpered softly, tremors worsening. Fever scorching her skin, lips quivering. Her eyes flickered, almost lost, almost beyond reach. Stay with me, I whispered. I'm right here. You fight it. Her hand twitched weakly, squeezing mine. Fragile. Alive. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. Time had no meaning in the ash and blood city. Claire patrolled the perimeter while I stayed crouched beside Karen, adjusting her bandages, pressing damp cloths to her forehead. The fever raged, and I could feel the infection crawling through her veins like ice and fire at once. I thought back to my prepper manuals, medical guides I'd studied for emergencies. Nothing like this existed. A real, fast-moving infection, turning human tissue into aggression in hours. Every technique I knew could only slow it, not cure it. And yet I kept fighting. For her. Karen shivered violently, moaning low. Tom, I can't. Yes, you can, I said firmly. You hold on. Fight it. Stay with me. Her eyes flickered, cloudy but tethered. Her hand twitched against mine. Alive. Fragile. Claire returned, setting down a box of canned food she'd scavenged from a nearby store. We'll have enough to last a few hours, maybe a day, she said. Her voice was low, tense. But Karen, she's burning up. This isn't slowing down. I nodded. I know. I'm doing what I can. Karen whimpered again, tremors worsening. Fever blazing. Bite darkening. Veins black, spreading like a map of infection. Tom, she whispered, voice weak, almost animalistic. I can't. Shoo, I said, pressing my forehead to hers. You can. You fight it. I'm here. I won't leave you. Her hand twitched, weakly squeezing mine. Alive. For now. Night deepened, smoke thickening. Fires burned in distant streets, the city alive with groans, shuffles, and distant screams. Temporary safety felt fragile, fleeting like a mirage. I kept watch beside Karen, alternating between adjusting her bandages, pressing damp cloths to her skin, and scanning the perimeter. Claire patrolled quietly, bat-ready, eyes scanning shadows. The silence between the distant groans was deceptive. It wouldn't last. The infected would return. And Karen's infection was at the tipping point. Every instinct screamed, move, flee, or isolate her. But my heart would not let me abandon her. I won't let you go, I whispered again, gripping her hand. Not now. Not ever. Her hand twitched, weak but still alive. Tremors violent, fever blazing, bite darkened. And for the first time since the outbreak began, I realized survival wasn't just about escaping the dead. It was about holding on to what made us human, even when everything around us had gone to hell. The night stretched long, thick with smoke and the distant groans of the city's dead. The temporary barricade offered some comfort, but every rustle, every echo of metal, made my chest tighten. Karen trembled violently beside me, fever scorching her skin, the bite on her leg blackening and spreading. I can't, she rasped, voice weak, trembling. Yes, you can, I whispered, pressing my forehead to hers. You fight it. Stay with me. I won't let go. Her hand twitched weakly, gripping mine. Fragile. Alive. But for how long? Claire patrolled the perimeter silently, bat in hand, eyes scanning for movement. Every time a distant groan echoed, Karen flinched, trembling harder. The infection wasn't just a sickness, it was a countdown. I tore another strip of gauze, pressing it tightly over the bite. Swelling had advanced, tissue dark, veins spreading like ink. Every instinct screamed at me, it was getting worse, faster than I could manage. Karen whimpered, fever burning through her. Tom, I feel it, it's taking me. No, I said firmly, brushing damp hair from her face. Not now. Fight it. Stay with me. I won't leave you. Her eyes, flickering and glassy, searched mine. Weak, fragile, alive. I could feel the moral weight pressing down on me. If the infection fully took her here in this small, barricaded lot, it could turn her into a threat, a lethal one, to Claire, to me, to anyone who came near. Every second I hesitated, every minute I tried to hold her life in my hands, I risked all of us. Claire returned, exhausted but tense. Tom, she's burning up. This is faster than anything I've ever seen. We need to think, maybe isolate her? No, I said immediately, voice tight. I'm not abandoning her. Not like that. Her eyes narrowed. Tom, if she changes here, you'll get both of us killed. This isn't a game. She's infected, and it's only a matter of time. I swallowed hard, knowing she was right. But my heart refused to let go. I don't care, I said firmly. I'll do whatever it takes. We survive together or not at all. I won't let her go. Karen whimpered again, tremors worsening. Fever blazing. Bite darkening. Veins spreading. Her grip on my hand faltered, weak, fragile. I pressed my forehead to hers. Stay with me. Fight it. You're alive. I won't let go. Minutes became an eternity. I alternated between applying damp cloths to her forehead, adjusting bandages, and scanning the barricade for threats. The city outside groaned with the restless dead, every distant scream a reminder of our fragility. Karen's tremors worsened, and suddenly she gasped, a low, guttural growl escaping her lips. Her eyes flickered, momentarily glassy, almost animalistic. Tom, she rasped. I can't. Yes, you can, I whispered, gripping her tighter. You hold on. Fight it. Stay with me. Her hand twitched, weakly gripping mine. Alive. Fragile. But her body was betraying her, each pulse of fever and infection inching closer to transformation. I looked at Claire, tension etched across her face. We can't stay here long. If she fully turns, we're dead. We need a plan. I swallowed, knowing the moral choice I was facing. Isolate her in the lot and risk losing her to the infection, or move her through the city's chaos in hopes of medical help, risking all of us. I hesitated, chest tight. We move. She stays with me. We take her to safety, somewhere isolated, somewhere we can treat her. I can't leave her. Claire's eyes softened just slightly. Then we move fast. But you have to know, if she turns, you'll have to do what needs to be done. There won't be another choice. I nodded, swallowing the lump in my throat. Every second counted. Karen's tremors worsened, fever blazing, bite spreading, veins blackening. She whimpered softly, hand twitching weakly in mine. I lifted her carefully, adjusting her weight to prevent collapse. Her body was hot, trembling violently. Fever raging, bite darkening, infection spreading. Hold on, I whispered. Trust me. We move. We survive. Together. Claire took point, bat swinging in tight arcs, clearing debris and holding back any stray infected. I carried Karen through the barricade, every step slow, careful, desperate. The city beyond was a gauntlet: fires, rubble, shadows, and the relentless dead. Karen whimpered, tremors worsening, fever spiking, eyes flickering, nearly clouded. I pressed my forehead to hers. Stay with me. Fight it. I won't let go. Not now. Not ever. Her hand twitched weakly, gripping mine. Alive. Fragile. The temporary lot faded behind us as we navigated the streets. Smoke thickened, fires burning higher. The horde roamed the city, but the narrow alleys and debris-strewn streets gave us a corridor, slim, dangerous, but our only chance. Karen trembled violently, fever scorching her. Bite darkening. Her low growl escaped, almost animalistic. I whispered again, pressing my hand to hers, I won't let you go. Fight it. Stay with me. She twitched, fragile but alive. Every step, every breath, every heartbeat mattered. Survival wasn't just moving through the dead city. It was holding on to what made us human: hope, love, and the impossible promise that I wouldn't abandon her, even if it killed me. And I would keep that promise no matter what came next. The city was a cage of fire and ruin. Smoke clung to every street, swirling with the metallic scent of blood and ash. The distant groans of the infected echoed off the concrete walls, a relentless chorus of death. Karen lay against me, trembling violently, fever scorching her skin. The bite on her leg had darkened further, black veins spreading, aggressive. Every breath she drew was shallow, every tremor a countdown. I can't, she rasped, voice weak, trembling. Yes, you can, I whispered, pressing my forehead to hers. Stay with me. Fight it. I won't let you go. Her hand twitched, weakly gripping mine. Fragile. Alive. For now. Claire scanned the street ahead, bat ready, eyes sharp. We need to move fast, she said. The lot won't stay quiet. Others will come. People or infected. Doesn't matter. Danger's coming. I nodded, lifting Karen carefully. Her body was trembling violently, fever blazing, bite darkening. The first blocks were quiet, deceptively so. The silence pressed against our ears, thick and oppressive. Every shadow seemed to twitch, every echo a threat. And then we heard it, a shout, human, desperate. Help. Please. Don't leave me. I froze. Claire tensed beside me, bat raised. It's a trap, she hissed. But instinct won over caution. I knew what it felt like to be left behind, alone in this nightmare. I stepped forward. A figure emerged from the alley ahead, young, maybe my age, ragged, eyes wide with fear. Please, he shouted. I can't survive alone. I glanced at Claire. She shook her head subtly. We can't risk it, Tom. It's too dangerous. Could be infected, could be a trap. I swallowed hard. I can't leave him. The young man ran toward us. I caught him by the shoulders. He was shaking, covered in grime and blood, but human. Claire didn't lower her bat, eyes sharp. Thanks, he gasped. I thought I was done for. I nodded. We're not out of danger yet. Stay close. Karen whimpered beside me, tremors worsening. Fever blazing. Bite darkening. Veins black spreading. We moved cautiously, the streets narrowing, debris piling up. Every sound, a groan, a metallic clang, a distant scream, pressed the tension tighter around us. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. Time had no meaning in the ruined city. We moved cautiously, scanning every alley, every doorway. And then it happened. A shout behind us, human, sharp, angry. You have food. Give it. Now. I spun. 3 figures emerged from the shadows. Scavengers, desperate and armed with crude weapons. Their eyes were wild, hungry. Not infected. Not quite. But dangerous enough. Claire stepped in front, bat raised. Step back. Stay where you are. One of them sneered. We said now. Food. Water. or we take it by force. I glanced at Karen. She shivered violently, fever raging, bite darkening. The weight of responsibility pressed down harder than ever. We don't want trouble, I said calmly. Move along and no one gets hurt. The leader laughed, low and bitter. Too late for talk. The confrontation escalated quickly. One swung a pipe. Claire blocked, bat clanging against metal. Another lunged at Karen, tremors violent, fever scorching her skin. I fired the shotgun, bodies collapsing, twitching. The young man we'd saved froze, terrified, wide-eyed. Karen whimpered, tremors worsening. Fever blazing. Bite darkening. Veins spreading black. Her low, guttural growl escaped. Faint, wet, animalistic. I pressed my hand to hers. Stay with me. Fight it. I won't let you go. Her hand twitched weakly, gripping mine. Alive. Fragile. The scavengers faltered at the shotgun blast. I motioned for the young man to stay low, grabbed debris for cover. Claire hacked at another figure, arms shaking, cracking skulls. Karen trembled violently beside me, fever raging. Bite spreading. She whimpered, voice cracking, nearly animalistic. The leader cursed, backing off. This isn't over, he shouted. You'll regret it. We didn't wait to find out. I lifted Karen carefully, adjusting her weight to prevent collapse. Claire covered our rear. The young man ran close beside us. The streets ahead were still treacherous, rubble, fire, shadows, and the ever-present threat of the dead. But we had momentum, fragile and fleeting. Karen whimpered again, tremors worsening. Fever blazing. Bite darkening. Veins black spreading like ink. I pressed my forehead to hers. Stay with me. Fight it. I won't let you go. Not now. Not ever. Her hand twitched, weak but alive. We reached a partially collapsed building, temporary refuge. I set Karen down carefully, crouching beside her. Her tremors were violent, fever blazing, bite darkening rapidly. Every breath shallow, every heartbeat fragile. Claire barricaded the entrances with rubble and overturned furniture. The young man helped quietly, shaking, eyes wide. I looked at Karen. This is it, I whispered. We hold on. We survive. Together. Her hand twitched weakly, gripping mine. Alive. Fragile. And for the first time since the outbreak, I realized the true cost of survival, the moral weight, the impossible choices, the betrayals, and the losses. Because in this city, survival wasn't just about escaping the dead. It was about holding on to what made us human, and hoping it would be enough. The collapsed building offered temporary shelter, but the air was thick with smoke, dust, and the stench of decay. Karen trembled violently beside me, fever scorching her skin, the bite on her leg blackening and spreading. Each breath she drew was shallow, every heartbeat fragile. I can't, she rasped, voice weak, trembling. Yes, you can, I whispered, pressing my forehead to hers. Fight it. Stay with me. I won't let you go. Her hand twitched weakly, gripping mine. Fragile. Alive. For now. Claire and the young man moved quickly to reinforce barricades. Every sound outside, a distant groan, a metallic clang, a scream, pressed tighter around us. The city was alive with chaos, and the horde would return. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. Time had no meaning here. I alternated between holding Karen, applying damp cloths to her fevered skin, and scanning the barricade for threats. Her tremors worsened. Fever spiked. Bite darkening. Veins spreading black. A low, guttural growl escaped her lips, faint and wet, almost animalistic. I feel it, taking me, she whispered. Not now, I said firmly. Stay with me. Fight it. I'm right here. Her eyes flickered, clouded, searching mine. Weak. Fragile. Alive. Suddenly, a crash came from the barricade. The young man screamed. They're breaking through. Claire shouted, swinging the bat at a scavenger who had forced a gap in the rubble. I grabbed Karen, shielding her as another figure lunged. I fired the shotgun, blast deafening, bodies collapsing, twitching. But more kept coming, relentless. Karen whimpered, tremors worsening. Fever scorching. Bite darkening. Veins spreading. I pressed my hand to hers. Stay with me. Fight it. I won't let you go. Her grip twitched, weak but alive. The chaos forced us into a corner of the building. Debris and furniture formed a crude barrier. Claire hacked at a scavenger lunging from the gap, arms shaking, cracking skulls. Karen trembled violently, fever blazing. Bite darkening. Veins spreading black. Her low growl grew louder, closer to human speech, guttural, animalistic. I can't, she rasped. Yes, you can, I whispered. You fight it. Stay with me. Her hand twitched, weak, but she squeezed mine. Alive. Fragile. Then it happened. Karen's body convulsed violently. Tremors worsening, fever scorching, bite darkening rapidly. Her eyes flickered, glassy, clouded. And then, a scream, sharp, wet, animalistic, tore from her throat. I froze, heart hammering. Karen, I whispered, pressing my forehead to hers. Stay with me. Fight it. I won't let you go. Her hand twitched, weakly gripping mine. Alive. But the infection had reached a tipping point. Claire swung the bat at a figure lunging from the debris, but her voice shook. Tom, she's turning. I knew she was right. One wrong move, one delayed decision, and Karen could become a lethal threat. The young man gasped, stepping back in fear. She's changing. I swallowed hard, chest tight. Every instinct screamed, isolate her, risk losing her, or try to escape with her in my arms through the chaos. Either choice could cost lives. I pressed my forehead to hers again. Stay with me. Fight it. I won't let you go. Her eyes flickered, a final, fragile tether to humanity. Her tremors worsened, fever blazing. The bite darkened further, veins blackening. I knew what had to be done. Claire, I whispered, voice tight. We move? No. She's too far gone to stay. If we stay, we lose everyone. Claire nodded, eyes blazing. Right. We move fast. Protect her. I lifted Karen carefully, adjusting her weight to prevent collapse. Her tremors were violent, fever raging. Bite darkening, veins spreading rapidly. We navigated through the gaps and debris, barricade behind us compromised, scavengers and infected pressing closer. Karen whimpered, tremors worsening, fever blazing. Low growl escaping her lips, faint, wet, animalistic. I pressed my hand to hers. Stay with me. Fight it. I won't let you go. Her hand twitched weakly, gripping mine. Alive. Fragile. We broke through the building's shattered doorway, stumbling into the streets. Smoke thickened, fire burning higher. The city groaned with the restless dead. Karen shivered violently, fever scorching her skin. Bite darkening. Veins spreading black. Her growl grew louder, closer to animal than human. I whispered again, pressing my hand to hers. I won't let you go. Fight it. Stay with me. Her hand twitched, weak but alive. And then, in the chaos, it happened. She convulsed violently, tremors so severe I could barely hold her. Fever raging. Bite spreading aggressively. I knew the moral weight of the moment. Move, flee, risk everyone, or stay, isolate, and hope she survived the infection. Tears stung my eyes. I gritted my teeth. Survival wasn't just escaping the dead. It was holding on to what made us human. And I wouldn't let her go. The streets of the city were a tomb. Smoke choked the skyline, twisted metal jutted from collapsed buildings, and fires burned in distant blocks like small suns. The groans of the dead echoed endlessly, a symphony of hunger and despair. I carried Karen through the rubble-strewn streets, her body trembling violently, fever scorching her skin. The bite on her leg was blackened, veins spreading aggressively. Each breath she drew was shallow, every heartbeat fragile. I can't, she rasped, voice weak, trembling. Yes, you can, I whispered, pressing my forehead to hers. Stay with me. Fight it. I won't let you go. Her hand twitched weakly, gripping mine. Fragile. Alive. For now. Claire ran beside us, bat ready, scanning every shadow, every flicker of movement. Behind us, the faint groans of the dead and the angry shouts of scavengers reminded us that safety was temporary. The first blocks were treacherous. Collapsed cars, fire, debris, and shadows hiding threats on every side. Each step was a gamble. I adjusted Karen in my arms, careful to prevent her collapse. Her tremors worsened, fever raging, bite darkening further. We need to make it to the bridge, Claire shouted over the chaos. It's a straight shot out of this district. Fewer horde concentrations. I nodded, swallowing hard. Every instinct screamed that Karen's infection was at a tipping point. One misstep, one delay, and she could turn a lethal threat. Stay with me, I whispered, pressing her hand tighter. We survived together. A fire truck lay overturned across the street ahead, flames licking its metal frame. Through the smoke, a horde of infected surged toward us, drawn by the movement. Go around, I shouted. We can't fight them all. Claire swung the bat, taking down one that lunged toward us. I fired the shotgun, blast deafening, bodies collapsing, twitching. Karen whimpered, tremors worsening, fever blazing. Her low, guttural growl escaped, faint, wet, animalistic. I pressed my forehead to hers. Fight it. Stay with me. I won't let you go. Her hand twitched, weakly gripping mine. Alive. Fragile. We found a narrow alley to bypass the horde. The fire and smoke made it nearly impassable, but it was our only chance. I moved carefully, every step measured, adjusting Karen's weight to keep her upright. Karen groaned, tremors violent, fever raging. Bite darkening, veins black spreading rapidly. Almost there, I whispered. One step at a time. Stay with me. Claire led the way, swinging the bat at shadows and debris, keeping the path clear. Every second felt like an eternity. The alley opened onto a highway overpass, our route to the bridge. But the path was littered with abandoned vehicles and burned-out barricades. From the shadows, a scavenger appeared, weapon raised. Drop her, he shouted. She's infected. You'll get us all killed. I froze, heart hammering. Every instinct screamed, fight, flee, or risk everything. She's not lost yet, I said firmly. We survived together. Claire stepped forward, bat swinging. Move or die. The scavenger hesitated, then lunged. I fired the shotgun. Collapse. Twitching. So. Karen whimpered, tremors worsening. Fever scorching. Bite darkening. Veins spreading black. I pressed my hand to hers. Stay with me. Fight it. I won't let you go. Her hand twitched, weak but alive. The bridge loomed ahead. Fewer infected here, but the open space was dangerous. No cover. Every step exposed us to both the horde and potential scavengers. Karen shivered violently, tremors worsening. Fever blazing. Bite darkening, veins spreading. Her low growl escaped, closer to animal than human. Almost there, I whispered, pressing my forehead to hers. We just need to make it across. Claire scanned the overpass, swinging her bat at any approaching threat. I adjusted Karen, moving as quickly as I could without letting her fall. Every heartbeat was a countdown. Halfway across, a figure emerged, scavenger or survivor, armed, desperate. Stop. She's infected. You'll die if you go further. I shook my head, voice tight. No. We move. She stays with me. We survive together. Karen trembled violently, fever raging, tremors worsening. Bite darkening rapidly. Veins black spreading. I pressed my forehead to hers again. Stay with me. Fight it. I won't let you go. Her hand twitched, weakly gripping mine. Alive. Fragile. Claire swung the bat, cracking the figure's skull. Blast from the shotgun cleared another approaching threat. Bodies collapsed, twitching, relentless. Karen whimpered again, tremors worsening. Fever blazing. Light darkening. The far side of the bridge was in sight. Temporary safety, open road, less chance of ambush. But Karen's tremors were worsening faster. Her fever raged, bite spreading aggressively. Every second counted. I pressed my forehead to hers. Fight it. Stay with me. I won't let you go. Her hand twitched, weak but alive. We stumbled forward, one step at a time, until we reached the far side. The city behind us burned, the horde and scavengers left in chaos. Karen collapsed into my arms, trembling violently. Fever blazing. Bite darkening rapidly. Her growl grew louder, guttural, closer to animal than human. I held her, pressed my forehead to hers, whispering again, I won't let you go. Not now. Not ever. Her hand twitched weakly, gripping mine. Alive. Fragile. For the first time since the outbreak, I realized the true cost of survival. Not just the dead, not just the chaos, but the impossible choices, the moral weight, the fragile tether of humanity in a collapsing world. And I would keep that promise. Through fire, blood, and ruin, I would not abandon her. Because survival wasn't just escaping the dead. It was holding on to what made us human. And in that moment, as the bridge stretched ahead and the city burned behind, I knew we had survived, together for now. The sun was barely rising, a pale smear of orange through the smoke-filled sky. The city behind us was a wasteland, streets littered with abandoned vehicles, rubble, and the lingering stench of fire and decay. For months it had been chaos, the dead, the desperate, the infected. And yet, somehow we had survived. I sat on the cracked asphalt of the overpass, Karen resting in my arms. Her tremors had slowed, her fever broken temporarily, though the bite on her leg remained blackened, aggressive. Every heartbeat was fragile, a reminder of what could happen with the next pulse of infection. Claire was nearby, tending to the supplies we'd scavenged along the way. She moved quietly, bat resting at her side, eyes scanning the horizon, always alert. She didn't speak much anymore. Words felt heavy in a world where every sound could mean death. I ran my fingers through Karen's hair, pressing my forehead gently to hers. You're alive, I whispered, though the words felt thin against the weight of everything we'd lost. You fought it. We survived. Her eyes flickered, still clouded in places, but tethered to me. Alive. Fragile. A miracle I dared not take for granted. Months of preparation, of instinct, of desperate choices, had brought us here. Every decision, every moral compromise, every life we had taken or spared, had been a thread woven into the fragile tapestry of survival. I thought back to the early hours of the outbreak. The chaos that had overtaken the streets, the hospital, the abandoned lots, and the countless faces, human and inhuman, that had passed through my world in a matter of hours. The first time I had realized the infection wasn't just a disease, but a force of destruction, I had clung to my prepper manuals, my supplies, my rules for survival. They taught me strategy, tactics, and logistics. But they didn't teach me what to do when survival meant watching someone you loved tremble in your arms, fighting an infection that would consume them if given a single moment of weakness. And yet we had survived. Somehow we had survived. The city behind us was quiet now, but that quiet was deceptive. Smoke still curled from burning blocks. Fires smoldered. And beyond the horizon, the groans of the dead never truly stopped. Claire spoke softly, breaking the silence. Do you think it'll ever be safe again? I shook my head slowly. Not like it was. Not ever. But maybe we can be safe enough. Enough to live. To breathe. To keep going. Her eyes met mine, fierce and tired. We're lucky to be alive. I glanced at Karen, tremors now faint, fever still present but less intense. She coughed softly, murmuring something incomprehensible, a word or a name, a reminder that humanity still clung to her, fragile as it was. Alive, I whispered again, brushing her hair back. That's what matters. The moral weight of survival lingered like a shadow. Every choice, every life spared or taken had consequences. I thought of the scavenger we had killed on the overpass, of the city's dead, and the ones we had abandoned to save ourselves. Of the moments I had clutched Karen to my chest, whispering that I wouldn't let go, even knowing the infection might claim her. And yet, despite it all, humanity had persisted in the cracks, in the fragile bonds, in the choices to protect, to fight, to survive together. That thread of humanity was what had kept us alive. I stood slowly, carrying Karen in my arms, and looked out over the ruined city. The bridge ahead led to open roads, a chance for refuge, maybe for life beyond the ashes. But the horizon was uncertain. Smoke and fire stretched as far as the eye could see, the dead would always be there, and the world we had known was gone forever. But we had survived. And in a world where survival was a battle against death itself, that was enough. I glanced at Claire, who gave a small nod. We were tired, scarred, haunted, but alive, together. And sometimes that was the only victory that mattered. Karen stirred in my arms, eyes meeting mine. A faint smile flickered across her face, fragile but real. She whispered a single word, barely audible. Home. I pressed my forehead to hers, tears stinging. For now, I whispered, we'll find a new home. Together. The road ahead was uncertain. The dead would always be there. The moral weight of survival would never fully leave me. But for this moment, this fragile, precious moment, we were alive. And that was enough. I took a deep breath, the smoke stinging my lungs, the wind carrying the faint scent of burning asphalt and ash. And I knew we would keep moving, keep surviving, keep fighting for each other. Because even in a world consumed by death, even when everything familiar was gone, the human heart could still hold on. And as long as it did, there was hope.